We ain't playing. We're going. I like the aggression. Dude, let me drop the green car. You can go tell all those guys up there they can suck it.
What we're about to do is not a good idea.
All good. What is he doing? You gotta be kidding me.
Half the pack is flying apart.
It's so nice to see at the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well.
Jump. Come in the line.
Here low, come back on him.
That was incredible. Dude, nobody better. Nobody. Hell yeah, guys.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to NWP tonight here on Danny B Talks. I am Danny B, joined alongside my co-host, as always, Eric Estep. He's pointing, but he was going to go first in my list. We got the Iceberg, Jarrett, also here. It is time to break down everything that happened at Darlington. Guys, we will have Carson Hocevar coming on a little bit later. He's not with us now. He will be on momentarily. So when he gets here, we'll have plenty to discuss with him. He had a little eventful race on Sunday, a little bit to talk about that with him. But guys, where should we get started? I guess first of all, maybe it is Denny Hamlin against the world because no one picked him to win yet again, and he finds a way to victory lane off of Blaney's misfortune of Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Didn't have the flag, I guess, because it didn't match his sponsor colors this week.
Yeah, that's true.
They could have made a red one, you think?
Yeah, they could have gone full Ohio State with it. What were they doing?
Good point.
But I mean, the thing with Denny is like the whole narrative this entire offseason leading up has been, and we talked about it last week, has been like, is he washed? Is he done? And don't get me wrong, like he needed luck and a good pit stop and all of that to make it happen. But it's not like he was running bad all day. People act like he came up and just stole it from 20th. Like he was still running up front for a lot of the day and was in the position to get the win at the end.
He qualified good. I think they had a blip on pit road in the first half of the race. And then once he was like 15th, he couldn't go forward. And that was the story for most cars not named Ryan Blaney. It was very difficult to go forward, especially when the field got strung out. Dirty air was filthy. Let's just say. So it is hard to say. Yeah, Denny did not have the best car. It's debatable if he even had a top 5 car or if it was track position that really kept him in contention towards the end. But he obviously wasn't out to lunch, you know. He did, I believe, before that final caution came out for Larson spinning that set up the pit stop. I think he drove from like 5th to 3rd during that pit cycle. Like he was moving forward. I think they waited a little longer than some of the others to pit. So he had slightly fresher tires and he wasn't moving forward as fast as Ryan Blaney was, obviously, but he was moving forward a little. So his car was good. To your point, Jarrett, he did need some luck and a really good pit stop to ultimately get the win. But it was another solid Denny Hamlin showing. What's crazy to me is that Joe Gibbs Racing right now has 5 wins in the first 8 races. And outside of Bell at Phoenix and Hamlin at Martinsville, the other 3 have not been dominant wins, let's just say.
No, not at all. I mean,
yeah,
it seemed like in a lot of ways, it's so important with the pit crews right now. And, you know, Bozy talked about through the week about the JGR new kind of like jack swing almost, which I was like, the first time I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's been illegal since like the 60s. Like, you know,
I think Alan Cavana shared a great video of oh gosh, was it Junior Johnson? Who was it that was swinging the jack around?
Yeah. It's similar, but it's not the same thing. And there was like I saw like a top and bottom clip where it showed his pit stop compared to, I think it was Blaney's, which is always unfair because Blaney's crew was like the 35th best. But I mean, it was a lightning fast pit stop. And I think what it's proven is like one of the big strengths with JGR is their pit crews. Remember, we talked about this, but do you remember like back in the early years of this show when I kind of nicknamed it pit gun communism because we had to have the same pit guns? NASCAR had like the standard issue pit guns because JGR got so far ahead on it. Like they've been ahead of the curve on that. And hi, Rat, come on.
Yeah, it's puppy time. Hello, puppy.
Yeah. Hold on, you're being shy. Come on, come here.
In these vertical boxes, we can't see puppy.
Yeah, we can.
Puppy needs to
there
get real personal.
There is puppy.
boy.
So behind the scenes, fun fact: I got to spend some time with Rhett. Right after last week's show, when Tennessee decided they wanted to have 1 million tornado warnings, so at 1 a.m. I'm starting to hear thunder and realizing that storms are coming, and I text. And it turns into a call with Jarrett, basically like, "Hey, do you feel better coming over to a house instead of an apartment?" And lo and behold, there was Jarrett and Rhett in my house at 1 a.m.
Do Rhett and Shugs get along?
We put Shugs up in my room, so he would be away from Rhett.
Yeah,
And-
Rhett wouldn't live to see it another day. Shugs is a fighter.
Well,
Defend his
and
turf.
you know what? So I didn't bring it up when I was there. I might have brought it up. Okay, but I love you too. But I didn't bring it
Get
up.
this man a mic.
I had just as like I started looking at the radar because I was like, you know what? Before I go to bed, I'm gonna look at the radar. I just poured myself a glass of whiskey before bed, and I was like chilling there, and I'm like about to take something. Like, you know what? That rain sounds like it's getting really hard. Me and Danny have been texting a little bit. Let me just double. Crap. So
At that time, I think there was approximately 3 different tornado warnings, all lined up northeast towards Nashville.
yeah, there were because my brother started calling me then. Sorry, we've derailed this fully with tornado and puppy talk. We can talk more about that.
It's
and
it's okay.
accountability.
We don't get enough chances to talk about puppies and tornadoes on this show. We need to have a time for that.
Yeah, well, he's turning himself into dead weight right now. You can stay here. You just can't stay on my face.
Denny Hamlin now is in sole possession of 11th on the all-time wins list. 11 for 11.
He's not going to end up next to Rusty Wallace.
That's what I thought was funny was after last week, that was a real topic was like, oh man, you guys know Rusty Wallace got his final career win at Martinsville too. And now they're tied, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well,
now it's like, who cares?
that narrative made it 5 days.
Well, and the other part too that's crazy, and I don't know how this hasn't got more coverage, is he's tied with Kyle Busch now for most wins at JGR all time at 56.
Yeah, it's just taking him a few more years, but that is still significant.
Yeah, but it's crazy that we're not talking about that because I mean, you look at, to use Denny's words, you look at JGR's roster through the years, and it's murderers row. It's Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart.
2015, 2016 was scary hours.
That was the year of this. Those were like the age of the super teams because you had Hendrick with their super team that was still pretty good while Gordon was around. You had JGR building it up in 15, 16, and winning all those races. But I mean, you look at like the people who have been in a JGR seat, and it is a who's who of NASCAR history.
Who is the Mount Rushmore of Joe Gibbs racing drivers?
Definitely,
obviously Kyle Busch.
JJ Yaley for sure.
Oh yeah, he's on the ground looking up, taking the photo of Mount Rushmore.
Are we talking about all the series? Because Ty Dillon drove for him. Let's not forget that, guys.
I mean, I think Busch, Hamlin, Stewart, Labonte.
I mean, Bobby Labonte got that first championship for
That's
him.
why
Yeah,
I'm
that's
and like
true.
who got their first win? Was it Dale Jarrett or who got their
Dale
first?
Jarrett.
But I feel like first championship's more significant.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely say Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, Bobby Labonte would be my pick.
But what's their flagship number? Is it now 11 since 18's not there anymore?
Probably that, or maybe 20, because 20's lasted longer.
But they dropped the 20 in Xfinity for a couple years.
He's eating my microphone or my headphone cord.
Yeah, but see at this point, the 20 though feels like, even though it's now gone from Tony Stewart, Logano, Kenseth, Jones, and now Bell. Even though that's 5 different drivers who have drove the 20, and yet I really only relate that number belonging to mainly Tony Stewart and kind of Matt Kenseth.
Yeah,
they had the most success in it until Bell recently, but
it's kind of crazy to think like Eric Jones and Joey Logano would be the weak links of the 20.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
A
Like
3-time champion is a weak link of that number.
Let's
2-time Southern 500 winner. Like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, drove the 20 this millennium.
Both of those guys are not, obviously Logano isn't, but Eric Jones is no slouch either. I think that people just they kind of underrate him now compared to how good he actually is. But I mean, it is kind of crazy to think about just how good that team has been. So I told Riss I was going to do this, but then I didn't have the time to run to the store and get the materials. I was going to, because there were conspiracy theories galore, man. And I was going to go and get some tinfoil and make myself a tinfoil hat. And one of them was Denny Hamlin speeding on pit road at the end was one that people had out there, and that NASCAR let the guy who is like in partnership and suing the sport and against the sport
downfall.
Let them speed, get away with it, and be in position to win. That was one of the conspiracies of it. Never mind the games they've always said they played with the timing lines. It was NASCAR letting Denny win.
Well, you got to remember, Denny qualified third. So usually there's like 4 or 5. Obviously, pole sitter almost always picks the very last, or what they call it, the first, whatever, that last pit box. And then there's usually 3 or 4, the next 3 or 4 pick spots, usually with an opening in front or behind, but right positioned in the timing line so that they can maximize their speed throughout. Because it's not if at any point on pit road, oh shoot, you're going over the speed limit, you're done. It's your, if I'm not mistaken, it's the average. We can ask Carson when he's on here if he knows. It's the average between one line to the next. So you think about it, if his box is here, but there's a line right here, he's like stopped as he gets in to get his service, which means he's allowed to blast out because he's got all this speed he can still make up for and still be below the average. I think these teams calculate it down that closely. So that's why Hamlin, I mean, I don't know for sure. Wouldn't be surprised if he was slightly speeding at one point, but not when he got to the line and the average was still under. Everyone plays these games. It's one of the benefits of qualifying good is he qualified third and got the third best pit box, which allowed him to do something like this.
Sorry, he's still all over.
Goodness,
you would act like I have not given him attention all day. I've not went out and walked with him. I have not given him 3 chicken tenderloins to eat for lunch.
That's the problem. You give him an inch, they take a mile. You give him a chicken tender, they want the whole bird. He's trying to shake you down right now. He's like, I know you got more.
Oh, I ate them all right in front of him.
What does Cosmo do to you, Eric? What does he bother you with?
He likes to scratch at my toes. Like what he'll do if I'm sitting at the kitchen table, he'll lay on his side and then just start like just grabbing at my toes with his sharp claws.
If I stay in the office too long, Shugs will do something like that. He'll come in here and he doesn't have front claws, but he'll bite my knee and he'll be like, "You need to come. You need to get out of here."
Yeah.
I think the neediness too is just a doodle thing. I had Gus the Golden Doodle for like 14 years, and he was the exact same way. Where it's just like he would come up to me, he'd put his entire body on to the point where his feet were off the ground, and he'd just sit there and just be like, "Love me."
Dogs are great.
They are.
Let's talk a little bit about something else. Back more to the race. Let's talk about. Okay, we were talking about some of JGR's wins this season. It's kind of funny now that. Hamlin now puts himself into a situation where he could potentially be like Christopher Bell and maybe win 3 in a row because he's going into a race where he is a defending winner of the spring race at Bristol. So we could be looking at 2 different JGR drivers winning 3 in a row now because of this. But this race here would feel a lot like maybe Bell's Coda win because this race was dominated by somebody entirely different. Just like the Coda race was dominated by Kyle Busch, this race was dominated by William Byron, who looked like nobody could stop him until they did.
They kind of stopped themselves with their I couldn't tell if it was overly aggressive pit strategy at the end or if it was them playing it safe. You don't want to be the first guy onto pit road. Yeah, you can short pit, gain some seconds on the field, but then if the caution comes out, you're screwed. So you want to wait a little bit, but maybe they waited a lap too long. It was hard to tell if they were being too aggressive or not aggressive enough because Ryan Blaney waited longer than anyone and he passed everyone. Like that's how good his car was on the long run. So I can't tell if it was really a pit strategy mistake or if it was Rudy Fugle and company just overestimating how good their car truly was. Because William Byron obviously had a fast car, but he never had to deal with dirty air. He qualified on the pole, would drive out to a big lead, stage would end, noticed a couple of times he would get to the tail end of the lead lap and his lap times would plummet. I think it was the end of stage 2. Joey Logano went from like 4 seconds behind to 0.8 seconds behind when they actually crossed the green-white checkered. So everyone was struggling in traffic, obviously, but it felt like Byron's car was kind of fool's gold. Like his car, if you look more closely, actually seemed to struggle more than anyone else's. And because he wasn't spending much time in dirty air, they weren't adjusting for it as the race went on. So that's what I thought. Like Byron, dominant performance. I mean, shoot, really, really strong run, no doubt. But I don't actually believe he was the best all around car because, I mean, we saw some cars that could handle better in traffic. I felt like they maybe had the edge.
Well, somebody had pointed out a few actually had pointed out in my chat that like earlier in the year too, Byron and that 24 team got screwed pitting early, and then like a caution would come out. Like I think Phoenix was one that people brought up a lot about. And so I think that might have been part of it too, is just, because it did work out earlier in the race for him. They stayed out, and that's what the reason he was able to lead all those laps through the first stage and into the second. On the other end too, I think maybe, I don't think it was too much, but it maybe is something in the back.
Guys, I don't know if we're live anymore.
It's recording, so there it goes. It's back.
Oh, okay. We were showing that it was just getting spinny wheel of death on my end.
Eric's internet has taken over. How dare you, Snappy? How dare you?
We're all good.
For once, I'm not to blame.
The chat was saying we were frozen.
So here's the thing about StreamYard, right? If one of us is in here, it'll stay live. So more than likely, it was literally just like, it was probably just a StreamYard glitch or something. Because that was one of the big things that like was big for me on it. It's like, okay, so if my internet goes out, we're not screwed. So I think that's what happened there. So I think we're good. We should be fine.
I do not have McDonald's Wi-Fi Evergreen Mountain. This is fun fact. This is not actually being pushed through from my end. We'll just
technically it's not even
show business.
Technically, it's not even my end. It's none of our ends actually. It's just it's the website that we're helping with.
That's true. That's true.
Which end are we talking about? Talking about too many ends.
The good one.
All right.
But I think that might have been like all mixed together, that leading the most laps, all of that put together. So listen, I was kind of in the boat of actually kind of wanting to see it happen just because I've never seen that before. The last time it happened, I think I was 3. So I kind of wanted to see history. I'm not going to lie.
Would have been interesting. Would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
If he was going to win the race, I wanted to see him do it in historical fashion. I didn't want him to lead like all but 5 laps and win the race. That's boring. Then you don't even have the history on your side. You got to lead them all if you're going to win it,
Well, why don't we ask another opinion on the William Byron side of it and the dominating, what it feels like on the other end of it with our guest for tonight, Carson.
Hey,
there he is.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
And clear.
Carson.
Perfect.
Look, he's coming at us from his little man cave over here. All the good stuff behind him.
Yeah, this is my COVID. This is where I'm in Michigan right now. It's actually basically blizzard right now, but this is like where I sat in COVID. So like I have all still the stuff of like boxes and stuff everywhere, and like there's like weights behind me that I like because I had to only work out here. So like this is the basement.
Are the guitars yours?
Yeah, so like these are all like trophies for what I like ran like quarter midgets and stuff.
Oh wow.
Like all those are stuff, and then like my grandparents like got this in like 2016 or something. They saw it at a gas station. It's literally just Dale.
Hey, you gotta have a little Dale looking over your shoulder.
It's my favorite thing to put here because when people like would come over, they'd walk down the stairs and the lights would be off, and they think that's a real person.
That's scary. I asked about the guitars because during COVID for me, and my COVID resolution was I'm going to learn how to play bass guitar. So I went out impulsively and bought a bass guitar, and it has sat collecting dust for the past couple of years. So I wondered if we were in the same boat. But your guitar collection sounds a bit cooler than mine, having actually won them. Instead, I was followed around Guitar Center by a very, very attentive employee. It was very awkward. But Carson, it's great to have you tonight. We're just now talking Darlington, so you haven't missed much.
Perfect. Yeah, sorry I was a little late.
So you're all good. Give us your thoughts from this weekend at Darlington. How was it from your perspective this weekend?
Mine was brutal. Like anything else, you get a lot of high expectations because, I mean, like there's a bunch of teams that ran the Stewart-Haas setup, right? Like Front Row was really good. They ran the Stewart-Haas setup. We ran the Stewart-Haas setup. I know some guys from different organizations ran the Stewart-Haas setup, right? Like because all those people left. So everybody just had this set up, and Stewart-Haas was only good at really one track as like a company, and that was it. So like obviously there was something there, and so we went with that direction. So we felt good about it. Firing off like lap 4, I keyed up and was like, I think I have a tire going down. I'm not really sure. And like I was like the slowest car on the racetrack, getting super, super tight, and plowing, and didn't realize like my right rear was gonna pop completely. But it was going down, and got hit the fence, spun, came back, and the 24 struggled in dirty air that I actually got to drive back around him and go one down, and trying to fight there. And 24's wet to slide up. He texted us saying sorry, he only heard 2, and they only called 2 because the 35 was staggered on us, so they still only called 2. And I was like, well, I can't even risk this. Like I have to come up and just hope I bounce out of it. But like I can't risk hitting a Hendrick car, and I can't risk hitting a Hendrick car that's leading when I know what I'm fighting for. So I like sacrificed myself off of 4 basically. We still got one down at one point, and but I mean like the full front of the splitter was gone. The rear diffuser was all gone. The rocker panel had a hole in it, and we still weren't like the slowest car on the racetrack at one point. So, which like sucks because I think our car would have been good if we were that quick. Like I fully expected to like go like 10 laps down, and then like I think I passed like my teammate at one point. I'm like, man, like I think they were just burned the tires right off of it. But I was like, damn, like we're not like too slow. I just wish I was on the lead lap.
Well, the big trophy's in the fall. You can go for the Southern 500, which would be pretty cool. You tweeted something after the race, a great reference to one of my all-time favorite films, Holes. It's been a rough stretch of luck for you in the 77 team. I know people like to throw the word luck around. I think it's overused. Sometimes you make your own luck, and there's some of that in there perhaps, but I mean, you guys truly have technical issues, random flat tire early at Darlington. Like, feels like y'all have the speed, but like, how do you turn it around? How do you beat the bad luck the next few weeks?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so tough, right? Like, because it is, but at the same time, like you have one bad luck, or you have one bad race. We get wrecked at Phoenix for whatever everybody's on the reds. There's guys up front that probably shouldn't be there, whole mix, right? And you're driving back to Blue Fish, 7th in stage 1. Everybody puts reds, or half field puts reds on, goes by us. They burn a set. So we're like, okay, well, like they burned it. So we're going to finish like worse, like 17th now because we still have reds sitting here. And you get wrecked and torn up, right? But if we didn't get wrecked there, we qualify a lot better because I had to go out first for Vegas. I get a lot better pit selection that doesn't screw us on pit road and take us from running 4th. And I passed the 21 right before that run, and I passed the 21 in 99. So like you can look at it like, well, compared to the guy that won, I thought we were like right with them. That's where we race, but like it just kind of snowballs after that. And then you get yourself a reset at Homestead, and then we blow up. And then you're screwed at Martinsville because nobody could pass. And we're pumped to finish 19th just so we qualify okay. And then now we're back in that deal just because of what happened this last week. So Bristol, I think we could be good. But I mean, I'm hoping everybody blows tires basically because I know I'm gonna have to go out like 7th, and that's gonna put us in a really bad spot. But
just sneak that flamethrower you have and take that up there, and then maybe you can take care of some tires.
Yeah, but I mean, for us, right? Like we're in a must-win basically right now already. So luckily, like we've had speed, right? It's not you're having these mechanical issues and you're 25th and you're trying to figure out both ends. Like if you're slow, you have to finish races, and if you're fast, like you still have to finish. But like it's like I remember on pit road when we had it, we're like, well, we could have taken 4 and waited. I was like, yeah, but then we might not have won. And then we have all these issues, Homestead blowing up and this, that. I kind of looked at him of like, well, if we won and we're heroes, like none of this bad luck matters. It kind of gets us a reset. So you kind of know that in your back pocket. And our stuff's fast, our cars are getting better. None of if we won Atlanta, right, it's not a worry. If we win in 7 weeks or something, right, all this is a flash in the pan almost. So we just can't get too down and not realize like, okay, we're like fast. Like if we just finish where we're running, we'd be like 9th to 12th in points, because our last year we could finish good, but we couldn't get stage points for the life of us, and now it's completely opposite. So when we get both of those, we'll be in a decent spot.
I swear it seems now, Carson, like every weekend, usually if there's something going on, I'm just checking the NASCAR app on my phone, saying like, okay, how'd practice go? How'd qualifying go? And usually I'm seeing your name like towards the close to the top 10 or in the top 10 a lot of weeks. So you guys are obviously showing like the speed is there. It's just struggling to, I guess, put it all together in the actual race itself. Obviously the Atlanta situation, bummer. But y'all are going to have more chances to compete for stuff. You're going to have Talladega coming up here before you know it, and you never know what can really happen on some of these other tracks too. Is there any tracks like coming up that you are most looking forward to getting to? I know obviously a lot of people like Bristol for various reasons, but what tracks are really standing out in the schedule coming up for you in your second year now, right?
Yep.
In Cup? Yep.
Yeah. This next gen card is weird. You could be fast anywhere for one. Like, I mean, we had a shot to win Watkins Glen, and I didn't think. I mean, there was a one point I was running the boot that weekend, so I didn't think we were going to be any good that weekend. Let alone like that. My only shot at the time last year to win a race, like on a green white checker, was the Glen. So he hit it on anywhere you could be good. But like my favorite track and race is the Brickyard. Like I love Indy. We were like P1 on 10 lap average, I think mainly because like I literally was having so much fun running that track. I scuffed the wall like once or twice, like on the limit, just because I was like pretending like I was leading the Indy 500. So
I guess it's safe to say you were happy that the road course configuration was no more.
Yeah, I never got to run it, and I'm really glad that my first experience was at Indy was on the oval. Like I felt like it would have been really depressing to like do that and go the wrong way.
Meanwhile, your teammate McDowell is probably like, "Bring it back."
Oh yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is wishing that. But I love the Brickyard. That's my favorite race, favorite racetrack, favorite place to go.
Have you been to the Indy 500 before as a fan?
Yeah, I have. When I was a kid, went to the Indy 500 a few times and everything, and enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, like that's something I would love to do. Like it's really high on my list. And
Someone in the comments a moment ago said, "Yeah, you should run the Indy 500 one day."
Just hop in Larson's plane. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, like, I mean, I'm one call away from our owner, right, of being able to hopefully make that happen. With the relationship with TWG and Andretti and everything, but yeah, it'd be super cool to do that. But I feel like I gotta win a lot to do it. But it would be super cool to do it. Like I gotta succeed at my main job before I go do that.
Yeah,
Right.
win a few cup races, and then we can have the like best driver ever conversation, like we've been doing with Kyle Larson. Like then it'll be really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, one thing like on my bucket list that I realized, like, it's one of my buddies said it, and I'm like, they're like, you should test an F1 car. I was like, there's no shot. Like, who would I call? And they're like, your owner. I was like, oh shit, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I could. And it's fun to hear that world now, and I've become an F1 fan a little bit, obviously, just because like. I mean, I think the racing's not that. I mean, the best thing that's made it for me now is Max is not in the fastest car. So like now I'm just rooting on him the whole time. It seems like just because like he's not in the fastest, but I've tried to keep up with it, and it's cool to hear the like inner workings of Cadillac and how that's working. And, because obviously I get to hear a lot of the behind the scenes stuff a little bit here and there, which is super cool.
Before we get back to Darlington, I want to ask you just one question about the team, because we're kind of talking about that. Like, Spire's grown so much in the last just 2 years, like we're talking about even outside of NASCAR, but you've got technically, I guess, 2 new teammates this year. I know Justin was there briefly at the end of last season, but like, I don't know, what have you seen? Are you enjoying your time at Spire? How has it evolved in the short period you've been there?
Yeah, I mean, I love Spire. All the people there, like, I mean, you hear people go to Joe Gibbs and they love Coach, right? Or they go to Hendrick, they love Mr. H. They go there. So like, it's really easy for me to say I love Jeff Dickerson, but like, he's like my second dad, basically. Like, my dad like didn't grow up a race fan, racing. Like, me and him don't have the like, we don't talk racing really unless it's just about me driving. But like with Jeff, I don't even think we've talked about cup racing. Like, it's always like, hey, did you see this? Or did you see this? Or, man, did you, like, because he grew up in Indiana and everything, racing dirt, and I follow it a lot. So we talk all the time of ideas or everything. So that relationship is super important, and like, he gets it, and we talk about ideas, and you said like Michael and Justin work super, super close to each other. They were super detailed. They are super analytical. And me, like, I don't even know if I've logged into SMT this year. Like, I do not like it. It confuses me. I like to show up and play chicken with everybody and just show up blind. That doesn't seem to like be what they want me to do no more. But they're trying to mold me a little bit to be more analytical. Like,
They're trying
Michael
to teach
and
you
Justin.
the squiggly line language. They're trying to translate that for you.
Yeah, my favorite was we qualified second at Darlington, or maybe it was Vegas. We qualified like fifth, and I got given an iPad in between round 1 and round 2, and they and I'm looking, and like, all I did was swipe up on it and like got the SMT away, and the interviewer came down and they're like, "What are you looking at? This and that." And I was like, "Well, I made round 2 so I could say it out loud." Yeah, I just pretend to look at this thing. I don't actually look at it. I just normally just will try and find a video game on here or something. I'll just look at that.
Typical. You're what, Gen Z? Is that what you are?
I have no idea.
Danny, I think
I'm gonna put him into Gen Z by a little bit, but I'm gonna say typical iPad kid. You throw an iPad in front of me, he's looking for the video games.
Yeah. I just
I'm like nearly 30. I can call people a kid now.
I just get confused with squiggly lines. Like, I'm like, I don't want to see this GPS and this fake car and everything. Like,
yeah.
Somebody said, because I was like, man, I wish we'd just get rid of SMT. And they're like, well, it wouldn't make. Do you think you'd go faster? They're like, do you think you'd go faster without SMT? And I was like, no, but I think everybody else would go slower. Like, that's why I was like, so like, did I go faster or did everybody slow down? So I don't know. That's how I've always
math checks out.
Well, real quick, I'm gonna kind of go back to the throwback weekend side of this, and I think I can get it pulled up and we can display it here. Your new whip here.
Yeah, I bought it on Facebook Marketplace. I was qualifying at homes. I always Facebook Marketplace window shop. I never buy anything, but I just window shop.
I'm the same way. I'm the worst to look at boat or fishing stuff that I'm never gonna buy, but I just look at it.
And I screenshot it, sent to all of my buddies and financial agents, everybody, and they all I got back was blank yes, right? And I was like, "Are you for real?" Like, I was like, "Dude, it's quite a lot of money." Like,
you got some fun advisors.
And they like talked me into this. They're basically like, you don't spend anything unless it's DoorDash. Just get this. And I was like, okay. So I did. I wired the money before the Xfinity race was over.
Oh my God. That's what you're doing on the iPad during qualifying?
Yeah. So before
I was looking at Facebook Marketplace.
So I was watching the Phoenix Xfinity race in the grandstands. I was sitting on my phone talking to the guy, offering him money, sent it to my agent. I said, offer him this. And we wired it before. Like, I literally remember watching, Eric Almirola and Bowman like bounce across the line, and I looked out and I got a wire notification.
I'm just curious because I know some guys who like old school NASCAR may not watch as much today. Did this guy know who you were? Or?
I don't know. I don't know if he 100. He didn't play.
Do you have a
it.
fake name on Facebook?
No, I've had a few people. So I found a few things that I want to get on Facebook Marketplace, like real small things. And there was one guy that just texted me of like, "Hey, I don't want cash. Can you just sign something for me?"
Hey, there you go.
So I'm gonna save myself like $200.
It could be
crazy.
like the Superman Clark Kent. You just put the B in front of the Hocevar part of it, the silent B, and then no one will know who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just roll back and have that meme just be the secret identity. We were kind of talking before you came in here about the race itself with Darlington. You kind of talked about with the difficulty to pass the last couple races, stuff like that. And I got to kind of ask, like, looking at, for instance, William Byron, he just dominated for the majority of the day. I kind of have two questions. One is, what's it feel like to be on the other end of the domination, like as the rest of the field? I feel like it's self-explanatory, but I'm always curious of that. And then two, when it comes to being the one that dominates, like what's that do to a team moving forward? Because like for the longest time, I remember there were so many times where it's like you'd be dominating a race in the truck series and then something would happen before that first win. And then the floodgates kind of opened. So I'm curious, like both sides of that, like one of the team that kind of lets it go, but two of the rest of the field that's just like uncle.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to unpack that, I feel like, but I think the biggest thing with this car is like, for me, like if we ever got out front, our car was not great. Like if I like, you hear all the time, like if you could just get me out front leading, I'll drive away. Well, like for me, like our biggest thing that I said in the off season was like, it doesn't matter if I'm leading. Like I'm like slower out there. I'm better in dirty air. Like our car's just slow, and it's because like it's so pace sensitive on ride height, and like you saw like Byron, like he was super good in clean air when his pace was high, but the second he got behind like Cody Ware for like was the last car, right? He couldn't pass him, and he instantly like slowed down like 8/10, right? And it's more the pace sensitive, and like he couldn't pass like anybody. I bet you if Byron didn't qualify on the pole, he would have had their car set up differently, and he wouldn't been as fast and as dominant leading, but he would have been better when he caught traffic and caught everything. But like the second he got behind a car, his race was over basically. And that's the balance is like, yeah, you can make your car great in clean air, but like the second you lose it, it's over. And that's why I think it's tough where a lot of guys, like I think that's why a lot of guys like you see like qualify on the pole or something, like they instantly just tank this. Like if they don't get the lead right away or keep it, you don't see them the rest of the day. It's because they have their car optimized for clean air. And that seems like what it's going to do. But like an Xfinity or truck or even the old Cup car, like for me, like when we would dominate races and lose, like I hate the whole experience thing because like everybody looks like anytime I get brought up or like there's another kid, it's like, oh, you need like 3 years to truly know what they got or develop. And they're like, well, it took you 3 years. I was like, okay, but like the difference between year 2 and year 3 was 250 plus total downforce on our car because that was the year KBM switched over to Chevy. They put the KBM truck in the wind tunnel and it was 250 plus total downforce. And that's when we looked at each other at the start of the year. And I was like, well, I think like we had a shot to win like 5 races last year. So we should win at least 4. And that's why I was starting the year. I was like, I think we should win 4 races because like now we have all this downforce and we were actually pretty quick and you kick ass. And I think that's where you see like Xfinity or old Cup cars where they would go on a dominant deal, right? Like it would be aero. Like it would be they found something in the wind tunnel and they're super good. And that's what you find. Like, Furniture Row went on their tear. They had a lot of stuff like Rodney Childress and Kevin Harvick in 2014 when they won everything. That was aero that they found. Like I remember, Luke Lambert is obviously my crew chief, and he said they found something for Homestead that got them 40 or 50 pounds of total rear side, and they almost won the championship because that was what they had, and they were kind of mid-pack all year, but all of a sudden they almost won. Or with this car, like there's a lot of times where teams will dominate races. Like I remember talking to Ross when he won the championship finale at Phoenix. I was like, you all should be pretty good like in the spring, because that was like my rookie year. And he goes, yeah, I don't know. We don't even know why we're so good. We don't even work on it. Like we were just ready for the next year. Like and they showed up in the spring and then we're terrible. And all they did was just show up the same stuff. They have no idea.
So like at times does it almost feel like it's almost chance that sometimes you think you're good, but it's completely off base because of how different this car is compared to Xfinity trucks, former Cup cars, stuff like that.
Well, this car's so sensitive. So you could hit on it and not know what you hit on. I mean, like they're talking like, they may make a 0.2 pound air difference in the car and it killed it. Like it completely killed, like in the right front tire, they take 0.2 of air out of the car, out of the tire, and it completely killed the car. And then you put that back and it instantly goes back to drivable. And it's so sensitive. So when you talk about the heights of the car, like, I remember so many times where like we'll be at practice and we'll be super, super fast and we got our heights a little bit wrong. We're horrible in the race. We say, screw it, come down pit road, take 30 32 thousandths of an inch out of the front of the car to lower it. And all of a sudden we drove like back through the field like it was nothing before. I think that was like St. Louis where we finished like 6th or something. But you're talking 32 thousandths of an inch. And that's making the difference of like a 32nd place car and then like finishing 6th and actually like running up front.
Can you adjust? Like you talked about how some guys will be set up for clean air versus dirty air effectively. Is that something you can make serious adjustments on during the race? Or is that like once the green flag flies, you got what you got?
So everything I've been told is like, yes, but like your car's not optimum if you make adjustments, because like most of the time when you make adjustments, well, normally you want your car is as low as you could get. So like lowering it's not the adjustment. Normally you just raise it and that's what changes it and everything. But then all of a sudden you're taking downforce out of the diffuser because then it's not like optimal. So like you'll never see someone like make like a big swing and then just like dominate the race basically, unless they go like under the hood or like under the deal, like, but they're not going to make it from rear rounds. They might do it from like tire pressure or something else, but like very rarely do you ever like just dominate because of rear rounds. It's really just about like, it's really honestly the whole thing, the whole game right now is predicting the race pace, because if you predict the race pace, you can predict all 4 corners of your car and the heights of it.
That's fascinating, man. It sounds like, I know you haven't been in Cup that long, but it obviously none of us here have ever driven a NASCAR race car, but it just sounds like the game has changed. The lingo you're using, some of the words you're using and focusing on sound very different from what I remember watching on FS1 and on Speed Channel 10, 15, 18 years ago. It's really interesting to hear how the next gen really has changed the game literally in so many major ways. Danny, I'll turn it back over to you because I know we have a couple final throwback Darlington things to bring up.
Just a little bit of talk about Darlington and Carson. Feel free to weigh in on any of these. But the next thing we have to talk about, okay, I'll just talk about it like this. So at the end of the show, we do our race picks where we pick somebody to win. And Carson, the last 2 weeks have not gone well for me. I picked Austin Cindric at Martinsville, and his race went horrible. I picked Kyle Larson last week, and he crashed on lap 4. And he also crashed with 4 to go. So it was quite the eventful day for my pick this past weekend. And I don't know what to say. What happened to Kyle Larson? Definitely had the best looking throwback scheme, and he was awarded best in show. But it did not go the way that I think anyone thought that it would have for him.
Should we put our tinfoil hats on when it comes to the end there with him and Bubba Wallace, everybody? I mean, that seems to be what the internet told me for the last week, give or take. I don't know. I saw a lot of tinfoil hat moments out there of a lot of people doing conspiracies. I
saw a tinfoil hat about something when Carson spun out, coming from a driver in a truck series. I'm not going to mention his name though.
Yeah, I noticed there was a few of those. Yeah, I mean, whatever they got to do to stay relevant, my friend. Whatever they gotta do.
Well,
Yeah,
either way, it was very interesting the way that everyone seemed to respond to a lot of those. I'm just gonna say I didn't see anything tinfoil hat worthy for the most part, and I think the chat, if anyone else knows that, I can definitely go there if I wanted to for some different things, but I don't know. I thought the deal with 4 to go, especially, I thought that was just a racing deal for the most part.
Larson
I don't.
slowed down. Bubba
It
didn't
was
have
so
chance to react.
unfortunate, though, that it happened just when Blaney finally seemed like he had
Well-
made the pass and was cruising.
I'll put a tinfoil hat on. That's 2 JGR wins this year that were assisted, let's say, by another Toyota wrecking another Chevy. Remember Coda? What Denny Hamlin got in the dirt and spun Austin? I'm just saying. It's a total coincidence, but what a hell of a coincidence to have that happen twice in the first quarter of the year.
What are they putting in the water?
I think it was planned, right? Because Denny caused the Coda one, so then at Darlington, Denny got the payback so he could win.
Ooh.
So-
now Carson's with the 77 fiend tinfoil hat now.
Yeah, Carson's got eyes and ears in those JGR competition meetings.
I was
So, but-
shocked so many people didn't realize why Larson checked up so much. If you're I know exactly why he overreacted per se, right? You're 160 laps down. You don't want to be a factor. So you're like, the second you see them crash, you're like, well, I don't want to run into this. Or even, I think he was more like he was going to run up onto the 45. Like he didn't even want to side draft because he knew that would slow down Reddick. Like he did not want to be a factor at all. So he just instantly was like, oh shit. I'm like, the second that he didn't even run through his head. He's like, I don't even want to be out here at that point. So I was shocked more people didn't catch that.
A lot of people this week had talked about the DVP policy with all of that. And at least on my end, and a lot of us on the show, we've been pretty for it for the most part, just because that's the NASCAR we grew up with. But I'm kind of curious from the driver's perspective, like Carson, are you for it? And then kind of in the garage, how are most people when it comes to that? Are most drivers for it? Or are they kind of in the boat of I want to go home. This sucks.
If I was Kyle Larson, I wrecked out on lap 4. I would have wished I could have gone home and not ride that and just sit there and run 160 laps down, if I'm being honest. But there's so many different factors, right? The Blaney thing at the Glen, that would have been an easy fix, and it's because it's the Glen. He maybe only goes 1 or 2 laps down, and he gets to stay racing. So there's so many different things. I know for me, I had a fuel pump issue. I would have been there. There's so many things. It basically eliminates the flat tire dilemma. If you get flat tired, you happen to hit something by this much. Now you just instantly go to the DVP, you fix it, you can move on, right? There's no ball and strike anymore of were you in the crash or did you hit something or did you a lot of times it was well, our car's destroyed because you drug the thing halfway around the racetrack. That's the damage. What do you mean we're done? Now it just eliminates the ball and strike part. You just go there no matter what. If you crash on your own, if you have a flat tire, if you have a mechanical problem, we decide you're done by if you have to wholesale the whole car and rebuild it, you're done. But if you could rebuild the car in these X amount of parameters, then have fun.
It's the way it should be.
Well, and then the other end too, there was this week, and I feel like before we get to talking about the throwbacks, is the last thing kind of race wise we can talk about. Brad Keselowski had a near spin. The lug comes off, no caution until 3 laps or so later. I'm kind of in the boat of this, and I kind of want to see where the rest of you guys are with this. I'm kind of in the boat of either throw the caution right away like NASCAR usually does, where the car is sideways hitting another one, or if the lug's completely out of the way, you've let the car go back to pit road, just leave it green and don't screw with the green flag cycle. I feel like you can do one or the other on it, but I feel like NASCAR chose the third option in the middle and I thought they were completely off base personally.
Were you out there at the time, Carson? Did you see the debris that they called it? Because was I mistaken that the wheel nut was down near the inside wall?
I don't know where it is. I know I know NASCAR is like been very vocal of like, if they see a wheel nut, there's an instant yellow. Like basically, like if they
Okay.
see it, I think
Presumably because they're afraid of that getting launched. That's
well, it's not even that. They're afraid of a tire coming off. It basically so like in like
Okay.
when I used to race quarter midgets, or like I think it's a rule of go-karts, like if you see a fuel cap on the racetrack, it's an instant yellow, even if it went in the infield, because it means, and most of the time it means somebody's out there with no fuel can, right? And if they see a wheel nut, like, I mean, obviously, like, I think you could have said it was for the 6, but like there was no guarantee it was for the 6 too. Like it could have been someone different
somebody's
by the
afraid
time
of a
they
tire
saw it.
coming off, basically.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, somebody's gonna lose a tire here in about a minute.
Or they already have and we don't see. Because wasn't it like at Martinsville a couple of years ago, they didn't see a tire because it was up against the wall for like a lap? And they got
so like
flack for that?
I think we were I think like it was like us or somebody around us on pit road that like pointed it out and said like there's a nut out there, and then they threw it. So
you need to get you a 3D printer and make you one of those for that little Martinsville track that you have that you post sometimes.
I thought you were gonna say just throw one out.
That's what I thought he was gonna say.
Go full Robbie
Instead of
Gordon.
roll padding, you just throw
well,
out
I'm not going to tell you to do that, but I'm.
Yeah,
wink.
That was code. We've blown our cover, unfortunately. Can't use that idea now.
Well, so they have cameras facing us in every car now. I think they have a camera facing us to like.
They probably got a camera like every angle of you at this point.
So they have cameras. They have cameras that no one knows about. That you only see if you're in trouble. You'll go into the hauler and it's like, I didn't know those cameras were there. That's all I've been told. Like anytime there's like a fight and they're getting ready to suspend people for fighting or whatever, I've always been told you walk in and there's cameras that you never even knew would have existed.
That's crazy.
They
got your whole fight edited at every angle, cinematic music on it, ready to go.
So they like do
like
any
Spy
of these
Kids.
Do any of these ever get shown on the broadcast, or are they strictly like NASCAR alone in the truck has them and that's it?
I think NASCAR, I mean, a lot of them I think are just security cameras basically or something. Like I know, like in the car wise, you ever see the video that Corey LaJoie posted when he flipped? Like that mainly is for like, that's normally a like one that they don't promote, post, anything. That's for literally like R&D. Like they're watching our head move when we crash. They're watching everything. So they sent it to him to show how much his head moved and everything. Like I remember I got a video of me at Talladega when I first drove a next gen car, and I didn't even know they had a camera on me. And like my head was in my lap, basically, like into the steering wheel because I hit the wall and everything and bounced. But they were like, "Hey, we need you to change your Hans and this," and I was like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, here's the video." I've been lobbying that we need to have cameras at our feet because there's so many times where like I'll like get bruised, and obviously I broke my ankle and stuff, but like there's a lot of times I hit, like that's the stuff. Like I mean, there's like two things your head can hit, like right, you either hit the steering wheel or you hit the back of your headrest. Like your feet, they could hit anything, and I was like, that's the stuff we need to see and know, because like there's so many times, well, what did you hit? And I'm just guessing I hit my foot on the brake pedal and the brake pedal flew back, but like I'm sure our feet fly around.
Because wasn't it? I think it was Kozlowski back in like 2012. I think he was testing a road course. Yeah, he messed up his feet pretty good.
I think it was his ankle, if I'm not mistaken, because I think he went on and won like two races later or something crazy.
Yeah, he won it like Kentucky or something like that, right? Was that what it was?
I think it was Pocono actually, which I was crazy thinking about it. Now the big, I feel like the big talk of the weekend has been the throwback weekend and the viability and all that moving forward.
Which by the way, we loved your car this weekend. You were throwing it back to Josh Balicki a couple of years ago, and
classic.
we always joke that we're one to talk about people not doing a throwback because we were literally on a car at Darlington a couple of years ago, and we did not do a throwback either. So
that's funny.
We don't have a leg to stand on right there.
But I'm kind of curious, because we keep talking, we keep hearing about the driver's side of it, the media side of it, the fan side of it, like where you stand on it. You didn't, well, I guess technically did one, like you said, the Balicki one, but like,
that's just my joke for it. It's a throwback, but it's not.
But I'm kind of curious just to hear a driver's perspective, because we heard the back and forth this weekend of like, well, it should stay or it should go or what. Like, if let's put Carson Hocevar in charge for a day or a year on the throwback weekend or long term with it, what would you want it to be? Like, what's your path forward for it?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, right? Like, it's not for us, but right, but like it is a little bit, right? Like it's on our shoulders per se. Like it's for the fans, it's for everybody, and like everybody seems to enjoy it. Um, but like I feel like it doesn't like. I feel like no, like I feel like it's not bought in enough, in my opinion, right? Like I feel like it shouldn't 100% rely on the teams because, like, the teams, if you look who did a throwback in Xfinity of who did it, it's all family funded stuff or minor, like small teams that don't have to deal with corporate sponsors that they know that, or two, that part of their pitch for that small sponsor was that they're going to get a lot more attention than they normally would. In Cup, a lot of the big brands you see didn't do it this year because it's so. I mean, I know like dude with like Chili's and stuff, and their corporate market was like unbelievable of like trying to get approval just for our scheme alone, just for 10 races or whatever it was. Let alone be like, oh yeah, by the way, throw out those brand guidelines. Let's go do this throwback. Because like for me, like I wouldn't want to do a throwback just to just pick a random scheme. I wouldn't want to do one where we can't do the colors right, and you like I think I tweeted like if you have to ask what the scheme is or what you're shooting for, then you just might as well not have done it. It's not the scheme like the when it's on the Gen 4 car when you have the picture side by side. It's when the car's alone, because when you're watching the stands and everything, you're not gonna know, right? And two, like I think it's kind of funny. We always talk about like wishing like sponsors would do 36 races and like we could just have the car be iconic and everything. And then we go to Darlington and everybody just starts running other people's schemes that you forget, like, oh, fuck, who's in this one or who's in this one or who's in this one. Because like there's a handful of times I'm out there, like you naturally are just like, shit, who's in this car? Like, 'cause you can't see the number perfect. You're like, fuck, who's around me? Like, I remember, like, there's a lot of times where, like, I'm looking at the front of somebody's car. I'm like, I don't know who's this. So I don't know. Like, for me, like, I think the broadcast doesn't do near enough. They need to do overlays. They need to do more than just like either skits or just bringing in people and they just do an interview or do a podcast basically during a stage.
Fair enough.
I don't agree with that. Like, that's dumb. They need to do like overlays and complete like. In my opinion, if Fox can't change their overlays because of corporate and everything, like how do you expect the race teams to do it with their sponsors? And two, like I think it does need a little bit of a refresh, a little bit. Now I did hear like that it sounds like it's all like this might be the last year of doing it or last year of doing it the way we're doing it, which I mean, in 2 years, everybody's going to miss it if that's true.
That's the way Twitter works. In a few years, it'll all be nostalgic.
But no, I just wish there would be more. Or if you're gonna do it, we have to do it on the Southern 500. Darlington's a tough one to sell, and normally all the sponsors are front loaded, or like you get halfway through the year, you get time to like reset and like make that a thing. But with it being like the Daytona 500 and new partners and new everything, like I know people were talking about like the WeatherTech car. They did one in Cup and not one in or they did one in Xfinity and not Cup. Well, like Cup's their eyeballs. Cup's the one they get a corporate deal. And if we're really being honest, like how their deal works, they probably got it as a freebie in Xfinity or don't really care. So like, yeah, do whatever you want. But like Cup, they care who gets it, who sees it, what their brand looks like.
Yeah.
So I don't like, to answer your question, I don't know 100% what I would do without like, I mean, NASCAR Social did a really good job. They've redone it a lot, but they need to do more on the broadcast side to truly sell it. I feel like the event itself, it's not like a throwback event other than you get a parade of the vintage cars every now and again, and everybody wears throwback merch. Like there's not really like a draw to do it. Like there's not really like a throwbacky deal. And for me, I think a throwback race would look better. Like obviously Southern 500 evening, everything, all the schemes look better anyways. Like it's more that type of feel. So I don't know.
It's an interesting perspective though, and I think you're dead on that. Right now, too much of the onus is on the teams and their sponsors. I think that's 100% valid. Great point about the broadcast. I agree. The lack of overlays or when they would get like when they got Ken Squire to come out of retirement years ago to commentate a restart, I thought that was real effort. That was really cool, but they haven't put that same level of effort in recent years. So I'm with you that right now it feels like the burden is on the teams and their sponsors to carry the weekend, and that's unfair because you just made the point, and many others have made the point that you're asking sponsors who are spending hundreds of $1,000s on a given weekend to change their brand up. Like that's not always going to be realistic. But I hope this isn't the final throwback weekend, because I disagree that I think having throwback weekend in the spring, I don't know if the economics all make the most sense, but if you're going to race at Darlington twice a year, I like having throwback in the spring and Southern 500 on Labor Day. It gives them both their own identity, a reason to buy a ticket if you live in the area. If they take throwback away from spring Darlington, you might as well not run spring Darlington anymore. And I know the race this weekend wasn't a thriller by any means, but I don't think most fans want to see that. I think it still gives the spring race its own feel, even if it's a little more understated than it's been in years past. I hope they continue to build up this weekend, but like you were saying, Carson, it needs to be the broadcast. The track continues to do more. It seems cool. They had a lot of retired drivers were there. I saw Gluck and Bob Pockris, their tweet up had, I think it was like Ron Hornaday and Mike Wallace and Jeff Bodine were out there chatting with fans. Like there's people are putting effort in, which is great, but it still needs to be more balanced across the board if the weekend's going to evolve, I think. Because I think there was less than half the cup field in throwbacks this weekend, which was, compared to last year, that was a pretty huge decline. So that tells you that maybe something needs to be adjusted. That's my take.
I thought for a little bit maybe it could stand even find a new, I don't know, maybe every now and then a new track to fit that into. It ultimately,
if Wilkesboro gets a point date,
if it ever becomes a points race, I think Wilkesboro would be a good candidate for it.
I think. Oh, sorry, but I think really there's so many things there's so many layups in my opinion. If you're going to do a throwback weekend, driver intro should be its own different thing. They should have something different for that. How they do activation of bringing drivers out or doing stuff like that needs to be different. They need to try and replicate what they did in the 80s or 90s, or even too, right? I think something that you could give it a refresh is they could do themes. They need to do a night, okay, this year we're gonna, as the NASCAR broadcast or NASCAR themselves, they can pick a time era and they go with that theme for the overlays. They go to that theme with the activation. They go to that theme for intros. They go to that theme for the songs they pick. They go to that theme for what cars show up and what the track's going to look like. And they redo the banners or how they look or something. I think that's how you I think NASCAR has to carry it, and the cars definitely would be the bonus.
Yeah. On that note, I heard you talk about the driver introductions going to Bristol this week, and they obviously do a good job of making those a little bit more unique. So that's always a good stop on a NASCAR calendar of how they do kind of change it up a little bit. What's your song going to be this weekend? Have you figured it out yet?
I don't think they pick a song for us in the spring. They do it in the fall. Yeah, they do it in the fall. Or if anything, I haven't been told it. But I think they do it in the fall is when you do the true, you pick your song and everything. Because that's for the night race.
You ever been denied of your choice? They're like, no, we can't play that.
Maybe. I forget most of the time the team just says no. I felt like I wanted to do something like funny of just like I think it was like I had
like,
picked of
like Barney the dinosaur song or
no
something like that.
well yeah, kind of like that. You remember the cartoon Wacky Races? Like
I've not.
that's like my
I don't
favorite. And I
really
was like, let's
Actually,
just do like the theme song of that or something stupid.
I feel that might actually be before our time.
The
Yeah,
chat.
I loved it back in the day, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, this is like vintage. I love this.
oh
I've seen
yeah.
this.
So that's where so anytime in like when I was growing up, like that would be on at like it was the only way my parents could get me up for school because they would that would be on TV at like Boomerang or
Oh
whatever
yeah,
at
yeah,
like
yeah.
Oh, that's an old
7
one.
a.m.
It's a Hanna-Barbera
Yeah,
production. That's
yeah.
classic.
I've seen this. I recognize this now.
The whole chat saying you need to pick Freebird though next time you get the option. So
So
it's a little basic, but
yeah, the thing is, you have to pick something that is like super loud and like has like no words. Um,
there's a pretty long guitar solo in Freebird,
that
isn't
would
there?
work, but
But
like
that's kind of
you
Ross's
can't
thing after Martinsville, though.
you can't because like the whatever they're doing with the PA, it makes it really hard to hear it. So like unless you have it like a song that's already loud and really clear, I've noticed like it's really hard to hear it.
Interesting.
Well,
Well, on that note, I know we got to move on, Jarrett. What is or I don't know who wants to take it over, Jarrett or Danny. I know we have ratings and a poll that we want to do real quick for Darlington.
Yeah, I'll run over to ratings real quick. Race got 2.517 million viewers. It was the most watched Sunday cable telecast, I guess, from this past Sunday. Is that what that means, Jarrett?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The race peaked at 3.099 million viewers, which is actually down 4.4% from the 2024 Darlington Spring Race. It is the lowest watched Darlington race since the 400-mile Spring Race returned. So not the greatest.
Hold on. Andrew Winslow in the chat said you need to pick Nickelback or Creed. Favorite Creed song, really quick. Or do you have one?
The only one I know is Higher. Or is that what it's even called?
I think it's got to be that one. I don't know the name of it either.
Is Carson Googling Creed songs? I think I might do the same thing.
Know. I don't even know names to song. I love that like time of songs, but I never know names. Normally, I just Google lyrics and then I just get an answer. Like I love like any 3 Day Grace songs and stuff like that.
Does anyone here ever like hum into Google to try and like find a tune or a melody?
I've never done that. I didn't know you could do that.
Yes, you can search for a song and you can literally hum into your phone. And if you're anywhere remotely close, it'll tell you like that sounds like a 45% match of this song, a 20%
I'm like
match of
the last person to do that. I've got this redneck Southern like East Tennessee twang. It will not come out right.
Like I just hum it. I'm just like do. It's not good. It usually doesn't come out great. Anyway, but
getting Nickelback's "Devil Went Down to Georgia" cover, that'd be a good one. Yeah, we got the poll for this week. About 10,000 voted. 7% said it was great. 51% said it was a good race. 33% said it was an average race, and 9% negative. 58% net positive. Looking on the data side for the year, it is the lowest rated race of the season, even behind Martinsville from the week before. And it is of, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 13 of the 13 Darlington races, it's rated 12th. Only the 2021 Spring Darlington race had a lower rating than it. Same positivity rating, just people were more negative about it. So generally, the lowest rate. I saw, Carson, you said you'd voted no on the Jeff Cluck poll.
Yeah, I just didn't have a lot of fun myself.
I think the feeling was mutual based on a lot of the results. The first comment from it comes from Steve5 Minecraft, who says, "I am Steve. I am Larson fan. I am sad." So
Minecraft has taken over the Twitter timeline for me. I've just been seeing nothing but this movie here lately.
see, that has resurrected that one Instagram reel where it's like this European family is like this kid wanted Minecraft for Christmas, and his very old grandfather did not hear Minecraft. He heard a different one. I don't want to get taken off YouTube though, so I can't say it.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's Minecraft, Papa. Minecraft.
Oh no! Oh gosh. Okay, chat would fill me in on that.
Yep, you can look up some World War II history and know what he's talking about.
Now, of our 7 comments and 3 gutter comments, first one from Speedy Turtle says, us Blaney fans really can't have anything this year.
Nope.
They can have the lead late, just not at the end. Matt _8000 says, we can't show every battle. You can, you're just allergic to side by side. Here's NBC the last few years having 3 screens to show every battle. I mean, that kind of goes in line with what we were talking about with the broadcast, which is crazy to me. Kind of getting back to that for a second. It's crazy to me that Fox can't make a big deal about the throwback race at Darlington, but they have this amazing broadcast for like the Field of Dreams game. I believe Fox does that, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a baseball guy, but I think so.
Like, why can't we just do that NASCAR-ified?
Did y'all see Fox was nominated for another sports Emmy this year for their Daytona 500 production?
Since we have him on, I'm just wanting to gauge Carson's thoughts on something. What do you think of you being a cartoon character on pre-races?
Oh, it's my favorite thing. I made it my Discord profile picture, and at one point I think it was my Twitter profile picture, and I think it's my contact photo and a lot of my friends' deal. So it's really fun.
Oh my gosh.
My favorite thing is they rushed a cartoon character for me because I ran Gateway, so like it was super rushed. And they've yet to redo it. Like it's still the same. I was like,
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
you probably took like 2 seconds to draw this, and I'm still getting the same picture.
Damn.
I have
think
seen.
Did they get rid of it now? Or is
No,
there,
they still use
there?
it. They still use it.
I just don't understand it. Like I don't get what's like cool about it.
Oh my
I've
gosh,
seen
you're
them
right. They have
before.
had. It is the same one.
It's
I
the
found
same
it on
one from
Google.
Gateway.
The face is not. The fire suit's changed, but not the face.
I think.
Eric,
I think
can you send
it's.
that over?
I think it's
Uh,
Kyle Busch. His Carson, since his usual sponsor is like not kid friendly. They
It's
don't
blank.
put that onto him. But to make up for it, they gave him a 6-pack of abs, which he probably has not had since he drove the 5 car.
But from far away, I'm not gonna lie. Like for Kyle Busch from far away, his cartoon makes him look like a thumb from Spy Kids.
oh no.
Like I'm not saying it to be an asshole. I'm just saying like that's what he looks like. From like I saw, and it wasn't me that said it. Like I'm watching the race. Riz comes home from work, and she's like, "Why is Kyle Busch a thumb?" So it's not me. Like she just walked in the room, and that was the first thing that she thought.
I love that. Good Spy
Yeah,
Kids reference
Eric,
on the show.
If you send that picture over, I can display it.
I
but
can
I'll go
try
and
it.
yeah, just send it over Twitter. I'll get it from there.
Get it. What's in the gutter?
Well, yeah, let's get the last couple comments here.
Yeah,
Blue
I want
Jimmy.
to hear the negative.
Blue Jimmy 48 fan says Rudy Fugle blew this race once Byron was stuck in dirty air. I knew we were screwed. The Gen 7 car sucks.
Ooh, strong words.
Frosty Comics says people must just default vote good or something. That's basically the only result this poll ever gets.
We do have very
not
positive.
really.
We have a pretty positive voter base.
We're generally I would say
58% net positive is on the lower side for us for sure.
Mm-hmm.
well, we're generally about 6 to 7 points over Jeff's poll when it comes to positivity, I've noticed. So I guess that's it. And by the way, I think I have it ready to go. Or I thought I did.
I don't know if it's the most recent one. It was one of the first ones that came up on Google, and it's kind of blurry.
Typical. I'm trying to pull something up a Fox, and it's not working.
That's okay.
We'll get there eventually.
Fans can Google it
And
or
all
watch
that
the
stuff
broadcast.
up.
Yeah, last couple here. I think it was Boanthropist is how you say it. Says, was there in person, was really good to watch. Crowd went wild when Blaney passed Reddick. Jacob says, there's no way Bubba didn't intentionally wreck Larson. Blaney had the best car in that last run and should have won. And Cade says, shout out to the best driver in the world. Thanks a lot.
Damn.
I think that was another Blaney fan.
That sounds
the gutter.
sarcastic. That wasn't the gutter?
No, Carson,
Oh,
the
no.
gutter is our lowest 3 voted comments each week, because we'll show all sides of it, even the fun sides. Daniel Shell says, let's see, was an 8 domination pit crew, long runs, passable. Can't ask for more. Sucks Byron didn't win, but enjoyed that race. So if people don't like it, the positive ones are downvoted.
Wow. That was a very nice comment that people hated.
Yeah, that actually wasn't bad.
Jordan says, Bubba wrecked Kyle just so his teammate could win. Where's his penalty?
There it is. That
There
sounds
it is.
about right.
And then Josh Drumheller was the lowest voted comment, who said, this was embarrassing. Hamlin's the biggest vermin in the sport. Wins all due to luck. Stop. It's getting miserable. I'm not going to watch until about 30 to go from now on. These boring, lack of personality drivers kill me. So
You saying that about Denny Hamlin?
He doesn't have personality?
Carson, who do you think is the most boring NASCAR driver?
Denny. He's just rich.
Easy. Vermin. What an adjective.
But that kind of covers everything cup wise. That is the poll. Carson, we want to thank you for coming on. But before you go, we want to ask, who are your picks this weekend? We're putting you on the spot.
Do you have a truck and Xfinity
We're putting
pick?
you fully on the spot for it.
Okay. Truck and Xfinity.
Larson's racing all 3.
Larson is racing all of them, yeah.
Yeah. Have y'all picked yet? I don't want to pick anyone.
Okay, so here's the thing. Usually, we don't want to hold you on the whole show because we don't want to do that to you.
It's like 4 hours.
No, it's not 4 hours, but it's
going to be tonight.
But at the end of it, we'll go into our picks. Spoiler alert, I'm the worst in points right now because I've had 2 terrible weeks of picks after being the points leader. So I will go first, but we always give our guest the pick in front of the person who is last in points. So you get to have the chance to play spoiler
You
to
can
whoever
snipe
I
one of our
want to pick
picks
first.
ahead of time.
Okay.
Norm Benning is in the field.
Oh,
If you want to make that pick.
okay.
I'm pulled up the entry list.
You're allowed to pick yourself for the cup win.
Trucks, I'll do Lane Riggs. I feel like Larson's a gimme. I'll do Lane to go back to back at Bristol. I think he'll be really good. Xfinity, Justin Allgaier just won, right? He just won. He just won last week.
Yes.
He normally doesn't go back.
No, Brandon Jones won.
No.
Brandon Jones won. Okay, I'm gonna go Justin Allgaier. I think he'll be super strong. He normally doesn't go back to back because he always has bad luck or something. So I'm gonna go Justin Allgaier in Xfinity, and then Chase Briscoe in Cup.
Oh wow.
Okay, I like that.
All right, that doesn't take any of my cup picks away. I'm happy.
So why Chase Briscoe? That's an interesting pick.
He normally is really good there in the 14, and that car has normally not been good, or Stewart-Haas isn't super good. And JGR, the 19 car is always pretty good. And JGR is always super good at Bristol. So I figured
2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I figured I feel like we're kind of due for someone odd, or at least if anything, like someone you probably wouldn't 100% predict.
Fair enough. Awesome. All right, good stuff. Well, Carson, yeah, like we said, we don't want to keep you here all night. We know it's going to be a long one. We marathon these things, but we really do appreciate you spending some of your Wednesday with us and
all right, well,
chat with the
good.
fans.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah. And this is the team that's going to win the NFC North this year.
Oh my gosh, Jarrett.
I'm willing to talk trash. I don't care. I'll have fun with it. We probably won't, but I'll have fun with it anyway.
Carson, are you a Lions fan, Carson?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
are you also
my
a
dad's
Michigan Wolverines fan?
No, I'm a Michigan State fan.
Oh, interesting.
But my dad's from Cleveland, so he's a Cleveland Browns fan. So it was really fun for a few years because I didn't really have to give a single lick about football because it would just be like, "Hi, you're 0-16," and then like 2 years later, like, "No, you're 0-16 now." So we would just literally just flip flop of who's the worst.
We can agree on this though. We both don't like the Packers.
True.
Yeah, screw the Packers. We're both better in Green Bay. Like anyone but Green Bay.
I am a Tennessee Titans fan, and I am dead inside.
One of my friends is or one of my crew guys, I should say, was a Green Bay Packers fan from Nice, and that's all we text about now is I just talk mad crap to Green Bay, and he just reminds me of how much we've gotten kicked, and I said nothing better than the present. So
1-5 versus the North, and probably should have been 0-6 if the Bears didn't bear it right at the end last year when it comes to Green Bay. So I think they got a little work to do before they catch the best teams in the division. But dude, thanks for coming on, man, and you're welcome anytime.
No, I'd love to come back on. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
It's ton of fun
this weekend.
Good luck, man.
Thanks. See ya.
Later.
We will see you around.
I'm sorry. I had to put that in there. I had to.
No,
let's get Eric over here. There we go. We're in our matched colors. I had to talk a little trash.
Are we where we belong now?
We are where we belong. And I've been like, I don't know if you've noticed because we've had little buffers and stuff. I've been like troubleshooting crap the entire time.
You've had a lot on your monitor, so we can get back in a rhythm now. But it was great to have Carson on the show with us for a bit. He's like so open and honest, like about his approach to driving, about what he's seen, what he's worked on here in his few years in NASCAR. It's super fun. It's crazy that he'd be willing to come hang out with us for an hour on a Wednesday night when he's got Bristol right around the corner, still recovering from Darlington. Like that's so cool. It's so cool.
We didn't even get a chance
to do that.
We didn't even get a chance to acknowledge this while he was on with us, but Eric is former stop motion driver from you coming on to the show.
That's right. I always forget that Carson Hocevar, he was probably, I mean, how old? Carson's what, 22, 23 now? He's about 4 or 5 years younger than us.
What year was that?
So I was about 16, 17 when I was probably making that series. So he would have been probably like 12 years old. Did he even have his parents' permission to be on the internet at that time? That is pretty crazy.
Let's be real. No one does. We just find it.
Guys, we need to get him back in here. I was going to ask him. I was going to tell him that I had the itch to come out of stop motion retirement, seeing him work with his new track. I was going to ask him if we could do like some sort of a collab. I don't know how that would work, but I'll send him a message.
We got the group chat open. We can definitely make that work.
I'll send him a message later. Yeah.
We still have what's left of the Xfinity race to talk about.
Yeah, we can blow through some of these next few topics.
Let's talk about right off the bat. Eric, how'd that feel seeing Matt Kenseth's old scheme go into victory lane?
Good. There was a few camera angles where you looked at and I thought, dang, that does look like that old Dollar General scheme. That was 2013, I feel like, is one of the most forgettable years in fairly recent NASCAR history. Not for me. I remember 2013 so well because Matt Kenseth won 7 races. It was the first year of the Gen 6, his first year with JGR, new sponsors. He went from being unsponsored half the time at Roush to 2 blue chip top tier sponsors, winning all these races, raced wire to wire for the championship with Jimmy until really the second to last week. They kind of bended at Phoenix, missed the setup, unfortunately, but that was such a fun year as a fan. So to see a version of that scheme back running up front, I mean, Kenseth did win Darlington that year. He won the Southern 500 in the red Husky Home Depot scheme, but still, it was cool to see. The shade of yellow was a little different. They didn't have the orange rear bumper, so it wasn't a perfect one-to-one rendition, but it was, from certain angles, it was close enough that it was cool to see that yellow 20 car back in victory lane.
Still mad. They could have done something orange, like done Tide or something like that, put it back there.
Yeah, it would have been nice. It would have been nice, but I mean, it was cool. I wanted to ask Twitter, and maybe there's a place I can go to find this. I want to know what drivers in the 10 or so years we've been doing Throwback Weekend, what drivers have had the most schemes thrown back to them. I imagine Jeff Gordon has to be up there. This weekend alone, Jamie McMurray had like 3 throwbacks. I know Matt Kenseth has had at least. Kenseth has had 3 or 4 throwbacks to him. He threw it back to himself once, technically.
Junior's had a few at this point.
Yeah, but I'd be curious to know if anyone has a tab that's like kept track of what drivers have been thrown back to the most.
How many Richard Pettys have we seen with the 43 car at this point? It's got to be him, right?
Well, yeah, could be, but it's usually only the 43 that does it. Whereas like this weekend alone, Brennan Poole threw back to Jeff Gordon. William Byron threw back to Jeff Gordon.
Jimmy had 3 in 1 year.
That's true.
And then you add in this year, and there were some other ones too.
That's a good point.
So Jimmy's probably high up there. The thing is, like, Dale Jr. probably would be higher, but half of his career is out of the question because you just can't throw back to that.
Yeah, not well, at least.
Gordon, it's like I said, I had somebody get mad at me on the Spotify version. They're like, I will not take Jeff Gordon Flames slander. And I'm just like, it's the same one every year. It's Flames or a rainbow. Like, there's nobody else that's been good in the 24.
Be different and show me the green Flames. Show me the Pepsi Flames.
Didn't he throw a couple years ago? He threw it back to like the color changing, that like kind of that like bronze Gordon scheme. Oh, it might have still had a rainbow on it now that I think about it.
They've done a throwback to the Jurassic Park car, didn't they? Did they do that?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think they have.
That would be cool if they could do that Raptor brand and do something like that. That'd be a different one.
Feels like a no-brainer. Why have they not done that?
Have they done that? I feel like they've done that.
If they have, it's probably not been great. But it just,
why do I think an Xfinity team did it?
Maybe they did.
Probably did. But kind of getting back to Xfinity, like,
let's talk about the Xfinity series. Brandon
Jones getting the win. I think they said 98 race winless streak he had.
It's been a couple of years at least.
I felt good about him going back to JGR. He actually had a good rhythm going there when he left, and then the move to Junior Motorsports derailed him. He fits better at JGR, I feel.
Yeah, because I mean, he was just atrocious last year, and he's had other than
he was contending at Martinsville last week too.
Yeah, and other than the first couple races, he's had speed. Like, that's the big thing. Like, he's actually, even if he hasn't finished well, he's had the speed and run up front. And I honestly think that just getting that consistency built up, honest to God, would probably be the best thing for him. It's crazy, though, because, like, when I think of Brandon Jones, I think of him winning. Because I remember one of the first years my dad and I went to Kansas, he won. It's almost like he's went from being like that pay driver everyone doesn't take serious, and everyone says, oh, well, they're just, he's only there because of the money, to like now he's almost been underrated because he was so bad for that, stint at JRM. So I'm curious to see how he's going to do moving forward. And this is fresh off the heels of that, this race is fresh off the heels of that meeting that they had with the Xfinity guys after Martinsville, which I honestly think probably got through pretty well, it seems like.
Well, you're not going to see beating and banging really at Darlington. I agree with what a few other folks have said, is like, for that kind of meeting to make any sort of difference, you need to be proactive. They need to have that meeting the Friday before the Martinsville race. Or, I mean, where else might we see something like this? Richmond, maybe. Iowa, maybe. Bristol, maybe. Probably not. I don't even know about Bristol. Like, that's the kind of meeting you need to have before the cutoff race at Martinsville this fall.
It was funny to me that, and I think Dale Jr. even took a shot at him for saying this. But it's funny to me that Austin Hill was like, we need to take initiative as the veterans. Like,
he says while holding his trophy that he got a week ago.
I saw what you did. Like, pot here's kettle, they're black, bash it against the competition.
Yeah, a little crazy. I mean, he is the veteran of the series. He's like 30 years old. Yeah, but I would rather, like, I feel like a few folks have also talked about how there's nobody in that series that really commands respect. And I think this is the problem. With all due respect to Justin Allgaier and Austin Hill, nobody really respects them. And honestly, nor really should they. I mean, we're not going to have the Justin Allgaier Hall of Famer debate, but he's not an all-time great driver. He's a solid, lifelong Xfinity regular. He demands some respect, but it's not the same. It's not the same as when Kevin Harvick would run that series, or when Kyle Busch would run that series, or when Mark Martin would run that series. It's not the same impact, I'd say. So, with all due respect to Austin Hill, if he says we need to race cleaner, that's in one ear, out the other. I'm not listening to anything Austin Hill has to say on that front.
And Xfinity side of things too, really quick. I know we didn't talk about it because I couldn't find it, at least when it came to putting it in the itinerary and all of that. But did anyone see? Did we eclipse 1 million viewers again for Xfinity? Because like if you look at, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you have the number somewhere too? Because I've been keeping track of this.
I saw it today for the CW. Yeah, it was over 1 million. I don't remember what the number was.
I would argue this, and it's kind of crazy thinking about just because it's a second tier NASCAR series. But honest to God, if you think about it and you look at the numbers compared to other racing series in America, like you could really argue Xfinity is the second tier series in America with the viewership. I mean, it's, obviously F1's at 3 a.m, but that's not going to change. So we got to judge the numbers off the numbers. It's ahead of IndyCar that's on Big Fox, which is a more viewed channel. 1.16 is what 48 Nation said. So okay,
yeah, I can't find it now. I don't know where I saw it. Maybe I didn't see it, but that sounds right. I swear I saw it was over.
So because I've been thinking about this more and more because, obviously there's going to be more coverage to Cup, whether it be, us, whether it be in the main broadcasts for NASCAR, mainstream NASCAR media. But it's like, the more I think about it, it's like Xfinity really is like right up there as like one of the top series just in America in general. That's just how big NASCAR is in general. I don't know. It was something I was thinking about this week, and I wanted to kind of vocalize that on here. Because it's like a lot of times I feel like we just sort of take Xfinity, not just like, us as a show, but I'm just saying a NASCAR fan base almost takes Xfinity kind of almost for granted. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but it's been in my head the last week.
If you are a NASCAR purist, if you are a person who claims to say, like, I love the old school days of NASCAR, you need to watch the Xfinity series because, yes, while it is a developmental series on paper, the car itself is as close to old school as we can still get. There is, you still have the traditional 6-lug wheels. You still have, 5. I don't know why I said 6. My bad. But you had the traditional, is what I'm saying. You have the traditional wheels. More horsepower in the Xfinity series, or am I mistaken?
I think it's less.
It's around the same. I thought they're both around 650, 670.
It's like a little under.
Okay. But still, okay, regardless, this car is as close to the old car as you're going to find anymore. And if you like that aspect of NASCAR, you need to be tuning into it.
Yeah. Xfinity stands, even if they had one bad week. But that was a long week of Darlington here, man. Damn.
Big first half of the show.
It was, but it was kind of sidetracked by our conversation with Carson. We appreciate him coming on again. If you guys missed that, you can always go back and rewatch it with Carson on earlier in the show. With that being said, though, I think that we've said all we can about the Xfinity Series race. We can move on to the first Super Chat stage break of tonight. We appreciate everyone for your support. This show is funded by viewers like you. Thank you. Jarrett, you got my timer ready?
Gotcha.
Bailey Riker, appreciate it, $4.99. Carson, you better pray that Denny doesn't pick you to win. Cindric blew his engine, and now Larson wrecked lap 4 on Sunday.
Danny could do the funniest thing ever.
Spoiler alert, I will not be picking Carson Hocevar to win. Justin Drake, appreciate the $19.99. New week, new beginnings for my sister and her new wife. New cars designed for my profile image and coming at some point of this live, all leading up to the best overall track on the schedule this weekend. Good to hear from you, Justin. You got a lot going on with you this week.
Vibes sound really good over there, Justin. That's great.
Tyler Dotson, appreciate the $5 from you. My earliest memory is Ricky Rudd's last win in the paint scheme that Kyle Sieg ran this weekend, so it definitely meant a lot to see on the track. That was a beautiful one. I've always loved that Haviland scheme from Ricky Rudd, the 28 car. It was so good to see that one.
It was one of my top 5 like most immediately recognizable schemes. Just the colors were so good.
Alex, appreciate $2. Did you hear that Strasburg 90 is back in service? No, I did not. For you guys who don't know the context, Strasburg 90 is a train engine at the Strasburg Railroad in Pennsylvania. It has been out of service for a little while, and I guess apparently it is back in service and operation. Thanks for letting me know, Alex. I'll have to go check that out on Danny B Trains. SW, appreciate the $4.99. Larson, want to see me spin 5 laps in? Also, Larson, 5 laps to go. Want to see me do it again? Hunter Nixon Fishing, appreciate $9.99. Always good to see you, Hunter. Over under, Blaney will be the first driver to get an AI robot pit crew. That's
he needs it.
I don't see. I hope NASCAR doesn't ever get to that point, but you never know about the future. You never know. Never know what the robot overlords will have one day for NASCAR.
What will the robot overlords allow us to have? That's the real question.
Bobby Blair, appreciate it, 499. Love or hate Denny. He's top 10 in all-time wins, and he has 3 500s. He's a living legend who deserves more respect, in my opinion. I will not contest that. I would agree.
Oh, I think everyone on this panel at least would agree he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I feel like he's
top 10.
Yeah, he's almost top 10, what, all time?
Yeah, he's 11th.
On the all-time wins list. But you saying he's a top 10 driver of all time?
No. I was saying
just on the wins list.
He's
Okay.
almost top 10. I mean,
I was gonna say I don't know that I'd put him top 10.
Top 15, easily top 20.
He's probably top 20. I don't know if I could put him top 10 or top 15.
I could probably find a way to argue top 15. I wouldn't be confident. Top 20, I would easily be confident in.
That's how I feel about it too, I believe. But I'd have to actually really look at the list. I've thought hard about my top 5, top 6. I haven't thought as hard about my top 20. So I'd have to really think about it. But that sounds right.
We haven't thought about this in like 2 years or so. We got another 23 before we have to make a list again.
I'm going to do 2 more to end us off on. Urban Alvarado, appreciate the 999. Richard Petty's 200th win. It's so elusive. Like has to be the right condition, car, and driver to break that record. If I can see Alex Ovechkin score 895 in my lifetime, maybe a driver can get 201. It would have to be like Connor Zilisch being the greatest driver ever by the time he starts racing. Probably next year.
Yeah.
Every year for like 30 years.
Yeah, he'd have to have like a 30-year Cup career, and he would have to average nearly 7 wins a season.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean, if
I
we
like the confidence, but it's not happening.
I mean, if we have, the rumored 42 race schedule everyone was talking about a year or two ago.
Let's just go back to 65 races. Be a man. Well, today on NASCAR Week podcast, we're breaking down the 4 races that happened this week. There's one happening right now while we're live.
We would become the NASCAR Daily podcast.
Dude, that was just 2020 for like those couple months. Remember, we had like 3 of them were pre-race shows because of Wednesday night races.
That's true. Last one to end on, Hunter Nixon Fishing. Appreciate it, 499. Too bad he's not here anymore. Has anyone ever told Carson that he looks like Matt Olson from the Atlanta Braves? I would have to look at Matt Olson.
I kind of know what Matt Olson looks like.
I think he looks like my brother-in-law personally, but
I guess
y'all don't know who he looks like.
He looks a little like Matt Olson. Matt Olson looks like the most generic baseball player I've ever seen in my life.
Maybe, but I don't know if I see it.
I'm gonna let them judge and just chill.
All right, but that's it for the first super chat stage break. Thank you guys very much. We are funded by viewers like you. Thank you. Now, thankfully, Jared, it's been dry for the last few days. We don't have to worry about tornadoes or anything like that or severe weather anymore, but we do still have to watch out for the lightning round to strike us here on the NASCAR Weekly podcast.
And there it is. It struck us. Yeah, we got a couple things to look at. Of course, obviously, every week we're going to remind you of the NWP channel for episode replays and specials, stuff like that at NWP Clips, as well as we're on Spotify and all iTunes, all of them. If you're listening on there, share it with all your friends, give us a good review, all that good stuff. Now it's kind of a mixed bag of happy and sad. We'll get the kind of the sad one out of the way really quick. Is it Shige Hattori, I believe? Is that how you say his name?
I think it's Shige Hattori.
Shige Hattori. It had kind of like leaked out slowly this past week, but then it was confirmed that he passed away in a car accident. And looking at the way that young drivers especially reacted about how he was able to help their careers. I mean, it sounds like just from top to bottom in the garage, he was one of the more respected members of the truck series as an owner. And it just, especially like hearing that he passed away in a car accident too, it just sucks.
And it was sad to see first of all, it's sad to see just his team having to step back over the last couple of years, considering they were literally champions. Not that long ago with Brett Moffitt. They had a lot of success with Austin Hill as well after him. People don't remember that time where he was with them. But it was sad to watch his team kind of fade away from Truck Series, and very, very sad to find out about his passing this week.
Yeah, I don't think the three of us ever met him, but you could tell he was extremely passionate about racing. I mean, you don't come all the way from Japan to start first driving in. He drove an IndyCar, I guess. Also drove and then drove in NASCAR. Then you start a NASCAR team, and if I recall, he would still even as recently as probably the last few years would fly often between America and Japan, coming and going to Truck Series races. Would be there pretty often, and yeah, like Jarrett said earlier, left an impact on a lot of young drivers' lives, namely the Brett Moffitts, the Austin Hills. They had a lot of success. So, yeah, very sad news.
Just a little note here. Some people are pointing out that the Shige was kind of his nickname he was given. I think his full name was Shigeaki Hattori.
Yeah. Some other things happened that a little more positive on the lightning round side of it. Cletus McFarland will be racing at Bristol in the ARCA race this September, and Connor Zilic will have his second Cup start, be the Coke 600, obviously in May. On the other end, brand activation side of it, we don't really see this as much anymore, so it's actually kind of a big deal. Kyle Larson will have a Prime Larson edition bottle, according to Adam Stern, this being for the time of his double. It
looks good. It sounds like a good flavor too, as well, from what I've read up on it. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of seeing the old Jeff Gordon like Pepsi bottles.
Yeah. I mean, and it's going to be like in local areas too. I think it'll be in the Nashville area in late May, early June, so around the time of the race weekend. They have the full list on Prime's website for it. I'm curious because I don't really drink Prime, see what it tastes like. Now there's not too much info on this yet, so there really wasn't enough to have a full segment on it, but hacking group Medusa claimed to breach NASCAR with a ransomware attack, seeking over $4 million, according to HackRead, which covers hacking and stuff like that. For the most part, what they released were just a few pictures of like brand colors, tracks, stuff like that. There was an interesting note that was left that it at least reads like somebody got run over or hit by a golf cart at Martinsville. A lot of people are kind of rolling their eyes at it, but my big thing is like, one, if this actually is happening, which it sounds like it is, like hackers aren't just going to let all the good stuff out immediately if they're trying to get money out of them. And two, NASCAR is not going to comment on this or acknowledge it. They're just going to get their authorities involved with it. And we're probably not going to see a lot of the stuff that was taken and all of that. But hey, there's never a dull day in the NASCAR world. That's for sure.
I think $4 million isn't much of an asking price when you consider NASCAR just sold Auto Club Speedway for almost $600 million. I mean, it's not nothing, but
I just say NASCAR, do not negotiate with these terrorists.
If you're not with us, you're our enemy. But like I said, it's never a dull day, and especially next Wednesday won't be a dull day. We'll be on Eric's channel April 16th at 8 p.m. We got Ellie Productions coming on after he's going to be on a car this weekend. So gonna be a lot of fun talking to him about that. Good to see Connor doing well out there. But I think that'll do it, guys. I think that'll do it for the lightning round. Danny, we got some headlines coming up. We'll just go one to the other.
Yeah, and it's too bad we don't have Carson here anymore, because I kept looking at something in the background of his video where he had a little hood with a very familiar car on it that means a lot to Jarrett, a red Budweiser number 8 Chevrolet that was in his background. Dale Jr. had fought very hard. Well, I don't think necessarily fought hard per se. It was finally given up, the trademark, from his stepmother, Teresa Earnhardt, for the rights to the DEI-8. Now it's in his possession. He's able to use it with his Xfinity Series car driven by Sammy Smith. A lot of controversy, though, behind Lamar Jackson, quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, who was pushing back on Dale Jr.'s team for the rights to the 8 trademark, but not the 8 that you might be thinking of first and foremost. As things got confused over what is what, so many people were getting up in arms on social media. And as it turns out, the trademark being pursued by Lamar Jackson's team is not the DEI 8. It is the Junior Motorsports 8, which is more of an altered version of the font of the number 9 that was driven by mainly Josh Berry. A few other drivers drove it. Sammy Smith did drive that before the DEI 8 font. But because it's not something that Junior Motorsports is going to necessarily pursue and use anymore, they're just going to give up the old style Junior Motorsports 8. I don't know about you guys. I think that's the right call. That you've obviously got the 8 that you wanted. And if for whatever reason Lamar Jackson's team says that they need this style for whatever they're planning to do, it's not really going to be used by you guys anymore. There's already merch out there to exist of it, but can't really stop the past. So
what I thought was interesting on Dale's podcast is he said they never trademarked the Junior Motorsports 8. Like it was kind of just like out there. And then when they were pursuing the DEI 8, they're like, well, let's actually file this other one for a trademark too as a backup, which is weird. Like, so they filed trademarks for both 8s at the same time, which I thought was just interesting. I'm surprised they hadn't trademarked the other 8 up to that point. That's why it was only now that Lamar Jackson's team contested it, I suppose. But I agree with what a few folks are saying in the chat. Granted, I don't know how trademark law works. I've seen no possible excuse as to why a customer would confuse the Lamar brand 8 and the Dale Junior Motorsports 8. Like they don't look anything alike. And I don't think you can just trademark a number. You can trademark a logo, I suppose. But like, even then, I don't really see any similarities between the two 8s. So it all feels like it came out of nowhere and made no sense. But like you said, Danny, Dale Jr. ultimately gets to keep the 8 he's most about. So that's what's most important.
Yeah, the brand that Lamar has is called Era 8. If you go to era8apparel.com, that's their website. I mean, the 8s that I see on here resemble more that rounded font that the Ravens have. There's one shirt here that says Era 8, but it's a more of a block lettering 8. I mean, how many football teams have a block lettered 8 at some point on their roster? I mean, that's more close to what we're looking at than Junior Motorsports, unless they want to actually then put out a line of shirts with this new 8 font that they've seemingly acquired. I can't understand why they necessarily felt so inclined to have it, but
Well, and the crazy part too is like on the whole story is like originally like even the original article reported it as like just the DEI 8, and then that went crazy with it. That brought even that much more to it, and then I never talked about that. And then it got clarified of which one it was, and everyone looked at that again, and it's just crazy to me. I have the Dale Jr. diecast when he ran at Richmond because I was there and I bought it of that 8, and it looks nothing alike. And at the same time, like he's also in a dispute because it was never like everyone's saying a lawsuit. It was never a lawsuit. It was just sort of a dispute. And he's in a dispute now with Troy Aikman, who I would argue has put more of an impact on football, especially when you look at the fact that he actually, got past the championship game and won Super Bowls. Dale Jr. has more playoff wins than Lamar Jackson does. This whole thing is just dumb. It's just, it is, to me, it's a publicity stunt. It's to get a bunch of people who are obviously not going to be as inclined to be football fans or Lamar Jackson fans to talk about it, hear about it, stuff like that in a lot of ways, because like most people, like I would argue most people who are NASCAR fans generally don't care as much about Lamar, and I guarantee that people who are more Lamar fans are not NASCAR fans for the most part. So, to me, it just seems like a brand play, like nothing more, nothing less.
I will say this has brought out some interesting conversations from, accounts that you wouldn't normally see talking about NASCAR. Like a lot of football pages picked up on the story too. But I will say something that was at least refreshing when I looked into the comments on those. I didn't see really many people doing the whole "you watch NASCAR? Who watches that crap?" I didn't really see that, honestly. So
No,
I was at least kind of impressed by that.
I noticed most of the accounts that put a bias into it were siding with Dale Jr., not Lamar, and they were football accounts. Like I noticed a lot of them too. Like the comments were all like, "You're really messing with like American royalty, basically. Like, why are you? This is stupid, So I thought the whole thing was dumb. Like it was just so
In some
dumb.
parts of the country, Dale Jr. is next to the president.
Where
Oh,
did
he's above
Lamar?
the president. He's the Dale Jr. is like in some areas of the country, they learn to count 1, 2, Dale, 4, 5, 6, 7, Dale Jr., 9, 10. Like,
Lamar Jackson went to. Is this correct? He went to Louisville.
I think
He
so.
did go to Louisville. That's where
That's
he
not
played.
an SEC school, is it? I was about to say you can't like.
No,
you got to be
Louisville
careful,
is an
man.
ACC school.
Never mind then.
But yeah, so there was that drama. Hey, between that and the next two, we're basically back. It's NASCAR Court TV, baby.
Yep.
We can touch on these real quick. I mean, there's not a lot of new stuff with the 2311 front row lawsuit other than there were documents that were brought to light that show 2311 and front row are trying to subpoena F1, the NFL, the NBA, other leagues basically, and are trying to get courts to force them to share some of their financial and business information so that the teams can potentially use that data against NASCAR. Effectively, it goes back to, Curtis Polk and company. They want to make NASCAR more like other leagues. And that includes F1. F1 operates, I would say, a little bit more like I guess F1 has their own version of a charter system, more or less. It's the Concord Agreement. It's not really the same thing, but the Concord Agreement, I think, one, grants the F1 teams a larger share of F1's revenue than the charter agreement grants NASCAR teams of NASCAR revenue, for one. But two, it does give the F1 teams a little larger seat at the table, I'd say. It gives them a little more influence, for better or for worse. And I think that's why 2311 and front row want that information, is because I think in their world, they would love to see NASCAR adopt some of those practices and grant the teams a bit more power. That's really the takeaway there. Obviously, F1 and the NFL and the NBA and whoever are all pushing back, like, we don't want to share this information. Like, this is our private information, even though it's just NASCAR. We don't want to share this with NASCAR, with the race teams, I should say. So we'll see where it goes from here, but that's what the latest updates were today.
Yeah, and to me, I think that it's becoming more clear, especially if the teams end up winning this. Like, it looks more and more like they will. To me, it's become more and more clear that NASCAR is going to change and be more like a stick and ball sport in the way it's run.
We've already got a commissioner this week.
Yeah, we got a commissioner. I mean, we're already seeing the restructures, and now we're seeing this kind of stuff. Like, and I get the commissioner stuff is, not the same as others, but
it's just a name. Yeah,
it's just a name for now. But they're switching stuff around, making new departments, things like that. And I'm and we can kind of talk about it too with the Legacy Motor Club stuff, because some quotes from Jimmy Johnson also came out and what he was talking about. I believe, was he on the Bus with the Boys podcast, or was it like at a subsidiary or something?
I have not seen it. He was on a podcast. I've not watched it yet, but it sounds like he's
Dale Jr. was on recently Bussing with the Boys, but I didn't see Johnson on there.
He was on some big one. I don't know what it was. I just saw the clips and like heard some of the stuff he was talking about, and I was really interested in that, because there was, because between that and Dale Jr. Download, we got the podcast reporting that we can talk about with it. I mean, allegedly Legacy paid $45 million for the worst charter in the field. The number 27.
Business of Sport podcast, I believe, is what Jimmy was on recently.
Okay. And I literally saw it just cut off in like 10 minutes segments on Twitter or X. And so I was like, oh, I saw a bus. Must be that one. Okay. You can tell how much I venture out, because I don't listen. I want to say this. I don't listen to extra podcasts for the most part, other than my core group of ones, just because like I got shit I got to do, man. Like I don't have
I've
5
mastered
extra hours.
I've mastered multitasking because I listen to probably half a dozen or more NASCAR podcasts every week, and it's like
Yeah.
that's 6-7 hours of my week if I don't multitask, so I have to multitask.
Yeah. But he had talked about like a possible cost cap even by 2027 in it. And I could totally see that happening. He talked about teams.
Well, that's something that's in the Concord agreement that F1 deals with. So like the
Yes.
teams have a greater seat at the table, they get a larger percentage of the money, but they've agreed to a spending cap. And it's questionable sometimes how it's enforced, as I understand, but like that's a thing that they had to agree to. And I think NASCAR has suggested in the past that the teams should agree to something
No.
like this, and teams have pushed back.
It sounds like the exception is driver salaries, which is kind of funny that it's like that's the exception when driver salaries have been so diminished over the years.
Yeah.
Like I'm
actually okay with that though. I think the cap should be more on how much. Maybe I don't know if I actually believe what I'm about to say, but I feel like the cap should be more focused on technology. Like as kind of interesting as it was when Joe Gibbs Racing was spending $1 million on slightly faster pit guns, that's big picture. They should not have been spending that money. I think it's fine to introduce a spec gun to take that out of the team's hands. But like the people, like I think it'd be great if the teams were empowered to spend more on the best pit crew members or the best drivers or the best spotters. Like that, I kind of actually agree maybe shouldn't count against the hypothetical spending cap. That should be
it'd be just the drivers, not the team. The team members wouldn't, I don't think, from the sound of it, aren't included in that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how F1's works or how the NASCAR would work. I'm just saying in general, I don't necessarily want the people to be part of that cap. I want a cap on how much unnecessary R&D everyone's doing, potentially.
Imagine if we could have something in NASCAR where we actually have like a draft system, like teams get to draft their pit crew members or something like that, so you can get your most athletic guys distributed evenly.
See, for me, I'm kind of at the total other end of it because I like the idea of ingenuity in NASCAR. And I feel like making a cap, making it so people can't do extra, can't push the limit further is just going to stifle that. And we're going to get more of the same. Because I mean, yeah, like,
is it creativity or is it just over outspending, like money by speed? I feel like if you place a cap,
money's going to buy speed no matter what. I don't.
But if you cap how much money you can spend, that's what I'm saying. Now it forces you maybe to get more creative with what you have. That's just my theory. I mean, with the next gen, you can only get so creative.
So basically, we're saying, looking at you, Hendrick and JGR.
Well, I mean, as Carson was saying, there's only a couple of adjustments they can make on during the race.
My point is that we're seeing. I mean, if we've seen that, we're seeing it in practice. We're seeing a cost cap in practice of Formula One, which is widely considered by many boring ass racing. Everything's the same. Everything is sort of the way it is lined up the way it is, and all of that. And NASCAR has always been different in that way. And I don't like the idea of completely going away from that because NASCAR has tried to stifle it so much and make everything more equal. And now we're talking about how it's hard as hell to pass at everywhere but an intermediate track, how dirty air is more of a problem than ever at Martinsville and Bristol and Dover. And we're going to have those problems no matter what because cars go fast, but it's like it's so much more pronounced now because everything is equal. And I feel like NASCAR constantly making everything equal is only going to just make it that much harder because you're going to have those little things. And I am open to seeing some things here and there added in. I don't want it to be a one fell swoop kind of deal because I feel like at that point we're just going to keep everything just so close together. And we're 4 years into this car and everyone's kind of been complaining that everything is like the worst it's ever been. And I get this is the next gen pattern. We have a bunch of good races. Everyone's amazed with it. A few bad races. It's the worst thing ever. We keep doing the cycle. I mean, we can see, but it's like if the racing gets worse because everything is even more the same. There you go. I mean, is the fix winding it back? Because at that point, I feel like you're going down a path that you really can't come back from. I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. But we'll find out. We'll find out. They don't give a damn about what we think. They care about what the teams and bottom line will be and all of that. And
I want to touch on this before we move off Rick Ware legacy. Yeah, so the report is that Legacy was willing to pay or is going to pay $45 million for the Rick Ware charter, which would be a new record if that goes through. Obviously,
Insane.
Rick Ware's trying to bow out of the deal. Now there's a lawsuit because Legacy says, "Hey, you already signed the deal." And Rick Ware's like, "No, we signed for 27. You guys changed it to 26." Legacy's like, "We didn't change it. You signed what we wrote. Whatever." We'll see where it ends up. But I want to talk to you. I want to get you guys' take on, like, the way I see it. In recent years, all of the mid-pack teams, it seems, have tried to get to 3. 3 is the magic number. Spire has 3 charters now. Trackhouse has 3 charters now. 2311, Front Row. RFK is leasing that 3rd charter, which factors into this, but they also have 3. So that's 5 teams plus potentially Legacy now. That would be a 6th 3-car, and I'm not counting Penske, though they are also kind of a 3-car team, 4 if you include Barry. Anyway,
They've just always been 3.
6 3-car teams that I would consider to be like in the 10th to 25th place range on most weekends, and Legacy's trying to join that bunch. So to me, that just tells me a couple of things. That tells me that what we've heard from folks like Justin Marks, 3 is the best number for this car. It's the best mix of data, information sharing, combined with, it doesn't spread the team quite too thin. But I also think that this has a lot to do with new OEMs. I think with Dodge potentially coming back in the next 2 years, maybe 2 to 3 years, Honda, a lot of drama on the IndyCar side. Could they take the step over to NASCAR? I think a lot of these teams that aren't top dogs, like 2311, they share data with JGR. They're good with Toyota. I don't think they're a part of this. There's questions about RFK because obviously Jack Roush is a Ford guy, but Jack's also really old, and Keselowski has already reportedly talked to Dodge about returning, so there's a chance there. But some of these teams, Spire may not leave Chevy because they're tight with Hendrick. But like a Legacy, a Trackhouse, an RFK for that matter, I feel like they are trying.
2 weeks ago, yep.
You said this.
I'm right there with you.
You said it. Who did you say it about? Did you say it about Trackhouse?
I said about Trackhouse and Legacy.
Yeah, I think Trackhouse makes the most sense for sure. But Legacy, I think you got to throw them right into that mix. Like,
yep.
So
Legacy,
we did have that conversation on this show.
Legacy,
I think that's where this is going too.
If you even go back into Legacy's, past of used to be Petty, then Petty GMS, now Legacy, they haven't been able to be truly loyal to a brand. I guess there was always a Chrysler connection with Richard Petty. So they were Dodge for a good portion, but then they became Ford, and then they became Chevy, and then they became Toyota, and they've now gone through everything they really can be.
Well, they're not even that team anymore. I mean, like Richard Petty is there, I think, in name only, and like not even name, but just in figure only. Maury Gallagher has been confirmed at this point is out. His side has been bought out.
He's a very small stake, I believe, or maybe I thought he still.
Jimmy said he was bought out.
Maybe if you listen to that, podcast, maybe.
I mean,
My point is like, Jimmy has nowhere loyal to be. There's nothing to be loyal for him. He has no reason to stick with Toyota. They're on an island, completely alone. They're not working together with 2311 and JGR.
It's not been a good investment in each other.
Yeah, and you might as well at this point be the top dog. I mean, at Toyota you were 3rd tier. At Chevrolet you were probably 5th tier. At Dodge,
which is sad because you're Jimmy Johnson.
But that's why I think it'll be really interesting. Is I think what we'll see over the next 2 years. Well, we won't really see it. It's going to happen behind the scenes probably. But I think Trackhouse, Legacy, and Roush, frankly, maybe other teams as well, I think are going to quietly be like fighting each other for Dodge's attention or for Honda's attention. I would not be surprised if 1 or 2 of those teams, maybe even 3 of those teams, transition to new manufacturers in the next 3 years. I think that is where this ends up. And I think Legacy is just throwing their hat into the ring. That's why they're so pressed to get this charter deal done as quick as they can. And I think they know it might weaken RFK if they end up buying the Priest charter and Rick Ware's in a tough spot, not sure what to do with their extra charter. Like maybe they think they could also get one out from under RFK, which is just one of their competitors. So I think that's really why this is so why
I know
some people so much pressure to make this happen.
I know some people are like, oh, Penske used to be Dodge, but I think at this point, I don't think Penske goes back to Dodge. Like, you got to remember, Penske was Ford when they came in, and then they switched to Dodge because Dodge had such a incentive to want to get a lot of teams involved with them, and that was kind of like when Toyota got JGR on board. That was their first big pull at that point. And so it was big I think that move with Penske and Dodge was bigger for Dodge at the time than it was necessarily for Penske. Penske being back at Ford, I don't see them stepping away from Ford.
They're top. They're top dog. Why would they leave?
They've won a championship the first 3 years of this car. Why would they want to get out of that relationship?
But even then, they're the top team. Like, there's no other Ford team that's going to be close to them. If every other Ford team left, they'd be fine. Their stake would not change at all. So I know people are like wanting to wish that into existence. Like, come on, man, we can get Penske and Dodge back together just like my childhood. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense.
And we don't see what we used to see back in the day. We don't see these teams having development teams in the lower series that they can be like, well, we could do better with the aero package of the Ram than we could the F-150's aero package. There is none of that anymore, so there's no reason for them to look at what they can get from their other series with the OEMs either.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's gonna be very interesting to see where it goes from here.
I wonder if RFK Racing ends up with a new OEM. I'll bet they rebrand. I don't think you can keep Roush in the name and not be Ford.
I mean, with all due respect to him, is he really
he's obviously getting a lot older
anymore?
I doubt he's as hands-on as he used to be. I've seen him at the track this year, but he's not there every week. But yeah, no, I'm thinking like, I could see them rebranding at some point, especially if Brad continues to take on more of a hands-on role.
Just bring back his old Truck Series name, his old Truck Series team name. Brad Kozlowski Racing,
one of the greatest farm level teams of in NASCAR of like just getting drivers ready. If you look at that pipeline, it's amazing. But
maybe the GOAT debate will truly make its way to NASCAR. LeBron's going to retire soon. He owns a small stake of the Fenway Sports Group. What if it's LeBron James Racing versus 2311 Racing?
You're getting off the rails a little bit now.
All right, okay, yeah, I am. That's completely impossible.
LeBron James.
Yeah,
but let's have some fun, guys. We got the fun.
I was just trying to get the fun segment started early. That was all I was trying to do.
Do we have our sound for fun?
Yeah. No, I don't want to mess with the stuff when it comes to it. I don't want to buffer too much. We're already putting a lot of stress on it.
I'll get my bell out. Hopefully, I get to use it this week.
Let's go in the predictions. How about that?
Oh, we're doing predictions first. Okay.
Yeah, we got that. I can put the sounds. I can't add any of the new ones.
No. I've got my bell.
Well, each host will make 2 NASCAR Motorsports show related predictions, which will be kept track of each week in our accountability sessions and will be relatively concise. I did not have a good week.
No need for the bell.
I said after Christopher Bell's streak, nobody would win consecutive races in 2025. That lasted a whole month.
Rough.
Yay me. Eric, mixed bag. Good one on the first one here. Said a throwback scheme would win both races at Darlington.
That's the one we all wanted.
Yeah, because we all knew.
I get a bell.
And you said at least one driver would wear a costume. If that was not the case, if someone did, we can change it. But
Leland Honeyman was posing next to somebody in a chocolate milk bunny costume, whatever that. I forget the character's name. The Nesquik bunny.
Yeah,
but he wasn't in the costume himself.
And Danny said that me and him would not go under a tornado warning. We did.
That was wrong. We went under 2.
Yeah,
and you can go ahead and put another one on because he's gone. I said that if Carson Hocevar would stay on, he would win Mystery Driver. He is not on.
Yeah, we'll put it on for next week. I can't change the graphic in the moment, but
I feel like that's a no. Like that's a no go. I don't feel like he deserves to get that prediction wrong.
Yeah, I'm fine.
It's like a walk in baseball. Doesn't go down as an at bat.
Yeah, it'd just be like a scratch. I'm at 38.89%. Eric at 33 and 30.
Oh shoot, I'm reeling you in. Whoa.
Yeah. Was not as much you're reeling me in as much as like I'm just choking.
Potato.
And Danny at 22.73, all time at 41.82. Eric at 32.
You are not reeling him in there.
No, got some leeway on this one.
And Danny
Jared still has all these ones that have been cooking for years, and we're still waiting to find out it's like a Marvel movie, waiting to find out what happens next.
Back when Marvel was good for the most part.
Yeah, it's still good, depending on who you are.
Then not depending on this guy. Then I'll go out with the start with the picks here. I am gonna put this one down. I think so. It was announced this week that because of how hot it's gonna be, middle of the summer, they're gonna have a beach section at Dover. Right? You have sand with Miles the Monster, beach balls, all that stuff. So I'm gonna make a bold prediction for this summer. There will be a beach ball that gets on the track during Dover weekend. Somebody's going to throw it
I
up.
love it.
The wind's going to get it. Something crazy with that's going to happen.
I'm going to be watching out for beach balls if I do get to go to Dover, like I hope I do.
Noah says in the chat, Marvel died with Dale.
Died with Thanos. But yeah, beach ball on the track. I think it'll happen.
I like it. All right. Well, this one, we just talked about this topic, so I'll go with this one first. I think another NASCAR team will be named in a lawsuit by the end of this year. I mean, so we got four.
I mean, that's
four
pretty.
Cup teams.
That's pretty good. Like, it's like they can be sued for literally anything.
And this might be an Xfinity or truck team. You know, missed payments. I don't know. It could be whatever the case may be. But we just got to keep our eyes and ears open.
They could be sued because someone slipped on water on visiting a shop or something.
Well, the last couple have gone to federal court, or I don't know if the legacy one's gone to federal court, but
not yet.
No.
I don't know if one of us have made this prediction, but I'm going to just say it. Kyle Busch will win again this season, giving fans free chicken at Cheddar's.
Oh, Jags fan is saying that Retzlaff wore one.
And
he's also saying I'm blind.
Damn. Okay. Well, I went to Retzlaff's Twitter. He did wear like a cool Kodak, Ernie Irvin style jacket, but I don't know that counts as a costume. And I made the prediction. That's not quite what I was thinking. I literally was.
You gave me the prompt and I went with it. And believe it or not, Jags fan, I have a life outside of social media. I'm not just scouring every driver and being a stalker here. I'm not going to be like, oh my God.
No, the onus was on me to find. The onus was on me to find a person wearing a costume, and I saw
no one did.
Yeah, I don't think at least maybe somebody did, but I didn't see it. The Retzlaff one wasn't going to count. It was just a jacket, unless I'm missing something more. But
yeah, I mean, if that's I wore a Dale Jr. jacket over the weekend. Does that mean I wore a costume?
It's a nice looking jacket, but yeah, I wouldn't consider it like a costume. If he was wearing had the Ernie Irvin mustache or something on, then I'd consider it a costume.
Like we need props. We need props, man. Like it's like if I had like a Dale Earnhardt jacket and I had the Dale Earnhardt mustache and gargoyles, like that would be a full on costume because you have a bunch of stuff added onto it, but. Trust me, oh yeah, that's right. I had a Lamar Jackson jacket on. Sorry, my bad.
That's funny.
All right. Let's see what else we got. I'm gonna say this one. Where's it at? The Prime announcement happened. I'm gonna get ahead of this one so somebody else doesn't make it. Kyle Larson will have a top 5 in both the Indy 500 and Coke 600 this year. He was running around 6th all Indy 500. He's awesome at Charlotte. It's all up to him not to crash himself out.
You couldn't wait a couple weeks already. I'm gonna forget you made that prediction in 3 weeks.
That's the point. Is I knew somebody was gonna make that prediction. I had to get ahead on it.
Well, I like to keep my predictions relevant to recent weeks or weekends. So I'm going to talk about Jesse Love racing at Bristol, I believe. Yes, he's on the entry list for the Cup race. This will be his Cup Series debut in the 33 car. I think he'll finish top 25.
Okay, top 25 is a fair thing for a rookie debut.
At Bristol, it's kind of tricky. Like, that's what I'm thinking.
Just survive.
Speaking of Bristol, Fox will show Tony Stewart's helmet throw from 2012 at least once on Sunday's broadcast.
Definitely. I think that's going to happen for sure. Oh, man.
Which is interesting because it was not their race. And that's the night race that they never have shown. So it'd be interesting for them to show it anyways. And Tony has nothing to do with the sport anymore.
That is pretty funny. There's some good ones. There's going to be some spicy and fun ones to watch in the coming weeks or week. But guys, we got one more fun one.
I need redemption after last week.
Yeah, I can't actually watch the chat because my phone's at like 3% again. Because again, I just
Did Rhett unplug the cord?
maybe.
That's okay. We're not
And-
going to look at the chat either. Chat, you're going to be blind to us for the next
Yep.
few minutes. I'm sorry to say. Bye, chat.
I mean, I'll leave it on, but I'm just sitting at 5%. So,
Oh, okay.
but yes, it is time for the random driver of the week.
driver of
Random dancing.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
I always wonder how our audio listeners are compared to like those watching who don't
They probably
see
hate
us.
us.
Yeah, they probably. Well, no, I got one this week because Spreaker and Spotify have added more ads into podcasts, even if you like don't have a ton of monetization. So someone's like, "Why do I keep getting the CPAP ad over and over again?" I'm like, "I don't know. They did. They sent me an email, man."
Maybe they're trying to tell you something.
I'm sorry. No. I mean, it's probably just them.
Ads are supported by your browser history, so
It's probably them just pumping shit out. But I to the Spotify side and all of them, I don't know what's going on. But to everyone watching right now, I still don't know what's going on. Eric and Danny are tied at 19 apiece for random driver of the week. Last week, Danny evened up the score with Cuckoo Marlin correct. And a couple weeks before that, Casey Mears. Eric had a 3-in-a-row streak going with Bobby Allison, John Hunter Nemechek, and Tim Flock. All different eras. So are you guys ready? You ready to go?
yeah.
Yes.
I needed Cuckoo last week. I needed to stop the bleeding from Eric's assault on me.
No, nobody gets further than like 2 ahead. I've noticed. So
We're stuck in the draft.
Yeah. This random driver was a Connecticut native.
Okay.
Was.
Well, most people tend to move.
Oh. Well, but you're always a blank native.
I'm not
Right?
an Illinois native.
Is
Not
that
anymore.
not how that works?
I don't know. I guess he's originally from Connecticut.
Thank
is a
you.
better
Thank
way
you.
of putting it.
Okay.
Yes. This random driver flunked out of college. Community college, I believe. So, by the way, we have 23 clues tonight.
Okay, good call. That's it.
From what I could tell, this random driver has never been tweeted about by any of us, including Carson. I checked just in case he was part of the segment. I checked, and then it's a no. It's a no from me, dog. It's a no from Carson, dog. This random driver was known as a prankster in the garage.
Prankster, okay.
Silly little goose.
Silly boy.
This random driver grew up as family friends with the LaJoys.
So their dad might have been in the Xfinity series a lot.
Yeah, maybe. This random driver raced actually against some of the LaJoys growing up.
Some of the LaJoy, that doesn't mean which one.
There's plenty of LaJoys, man. I don't want to specify. This random driver's father was a drag racer. I'm like watching the chat go.
Have they got
I can. No. Though probably somebody has, and I'll get called blind again.
Dang. Blindberg.
I noticed that's like the thing, like Blindberg has become a new thing because it's like I don't always 100% see the chat until I end up being wrong a lot. Many actually spoke very highly of this random driver, including Humpy Wheeler, Steve Burns, and Michael Waltrip.
That's kind of dates him a little bit.
Yeah.
By the way,
probably was Randy, not as much Corey they raced with. Not necessarily, though.
By the way, I miss hearing from Humpy Wheeler. You remember when Humpy Wheeler had a YouTube channel for a while, and he would just go off? It was awesome, man. It was awesome. This random driver was the youngest driver to win a NASCAR Touring Series race at the time of victory.
He said we've never tweeted about them. That's tough.
Any guesses? I'm surprised. The chat almost might be a little stumped.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them just going with
Uh,
Oh, that's a hint.
At 19, this random driver was the youngest to win in a top-level NASCAR series race, being the top series, a national series.
oh. That feels like a huge hint, but I'm an idiot. So it doesn't help me.
You said at 19?
Yes.
It's not who I'm thinking of. We've already done him.
I know the chats like put a few of them in, and they're like ones we've done already. It's funny. This random driver's first Cup start was at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
That was a lot of people, I guess.
This random driver made 29 Cup starts with only one top 10.
So they were a young, up and coming phenom, maybe, and then just didn't quite break through. You said they made 29 Cup starts total?
Total.
Wow, okay.
With one top 10, and this random driver had 18 DNFs in their Cup career.
See, there's one name I'm thinking of, but you mentioned them winning at like 19 in the top series, but I don't recall them winning in top series till much later.
This random driver spent most of his Cup career sponsored by Crown Petroleum.
Oh, shoot. That should be a big hint.
What color was the car? I don't even know the sponsor.
I think blue and white.
Shoot. I think I know the car, and I'm blanking on the name. That sucks.
This random driver beat Tommy Houston, Tommy Ellis, and LD Ottinger for the 1989 Xfinity Series championship.
Wow, that's a lot older than I thought.
Shoot, who is this? I can visualize it, but I don't know their name.
This random driver ran a race for Rick Hendrick, actually.
Definitely who I'm thinking of, but I can't remember their name.
I have no idea who this is.
This random driver raced Chevrolets and Oldsmobiles in his NASCAR career. This random driver raced these numbers. Get your pens and paper out if you need. You guys let me know if you're ready.
Oh, I have a pen. I think it's out of ink, but that's okay.
Hi, Rhett. Rhett's joined us.
That's a hint.
He's yawning. I think he's like, yeah, are you about ready to go to bed? All right. These numbers are 15, 20, 22, 23, 25, and 47. Who's a good boy? Yeah.
It's not very many numbers.
Not very many numbers at all. This random driver was the 1990 NASCAR Cup Series Rookie of the Year. This random driver's final Cup start was at North Wilkesboro.
Shoot, who is this?
3 clues left.
Gale. No, that's not a guess. I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, like, this random driver is considered to be one of the biggest what ifs in NASCAR history. Two clues left.
Said he won the 1990 Busch Championship. What did you say?
1989 Busch Championship, 1990 Rookie of the Year. For Cup.
I should know this, but I don't. I'm mad at myself.
This random driver passed away at 22 years old.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. What's his name?
It was because he was driving under the influence and crashed into another car.
Rob Moroso. That's it.
I think that's
correct.
Right. There you go, Danny.
And with how dark it is, I don't think I'm not going to put the Taco Bell one on that one. Yes.
Well played.
Gosh, I could not remember his name. I knew exactly. I was picturing that bright blue 20 crown call. You didn't have to tell me the numbers. I just confirmed it for me. But I could not remember the name, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well played. You got further than I did.
Hey, I'll say this. I figure when the random driver and different segments, we talk about all sides of things. And one of the oh, hold on, I'm gonna text. One of the things about him though is like he was a phenom going up through there, and just I'm not making an excuse, but more saying like he was rushed up to Cup is one thing for sure. Definitely rushed up to the Cup Series, and he struggled mightily before he was gone. So yes, that is random driver of the week. Danny takes a 20-19 lead all time.
At least I'm doing something right on this show.
Well, put you 2 in a row. 2 in a row. It's very streaky this year. Very streaky.
So is NASCAR. Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin.
I know. It's like, wait a minute. Maybe it's like every week now that Danny's going to get them right. It's like it's going to go with Denny Hamlin or someone else. Who knows? We'll find out.
Oh, gosh. 10 full hats.
I need to get one. All right. Well, I guess that gets it with the fun segment. Let's get on into Bristol, baby.
It's Bristol, baby.
It's Bristol, baby. All right.
Some weekend notes for this weekend. They are going to be applying PJ1 to the track on Friday. Kyle Larson will run all 3 races. Corey LaJoy will be back in the Cup Series in the number 01 car this weekend. Brandon Jones will be in the number 1 truck, sponsored by the University of Arkansas, the Razorbacks. Woo Pig Suey. Parker Kligerman will also be in number 75 truck this weekend. The Cup Series race, as it has traditionally been known for years, is the Food City 500, a 500-lap race broken up into 125 laps in stage 1 and 2 and 250 laps in stage 3. The start time for this race is 3:00 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch this race on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Radio coverage on the Performance Racing Network and Sirius XM. Purse for this weekend is $11,055,250. Weather for this weekend, thankfully, Tennessee is looking great for a little bit. We've had our storms. We've had our fair share of it. We're kind of ready to be dry here. Sundays has a high of 65, partly cloudy, 11% chance of rain. So a little on the cooler side for this time of year, but thankfully it's looking dry, so it should be good. Denny Hamlin is the defending winner of this race. I will not be at the race this weekend. I was originally thinking I would. Something's come up. I will not be there after all. So still have yet to go to my first race of the year. The Xfinity Series race is the SciAps 300. It's a 300-lap race, 85 laps in stage 1 and 2, 130 laps in stage 3. This race will start at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, so good chance it could end under the lights. We'll see what happens. TV coverage will be on the CW, radio coverage on the Performance Racing Network and Sirius XM. Purse for that race is $1,651,939. Weather for Saturday, even colder, a high of 51, cloudy, and a 22% chance of rain. We haven't had a spring Xfinity race in a long time. So the defending winner is Noah Gragson from 2020's spring Bristol race. And the Truck Series race, now that we're back to having all 3 series in the spring and fall now at Bristol, this is the Weather Guard Truck Race. It's a 250-lap race. It is 65 laps in stage 1 and 2, 120 laps in stage 3. This race will kick off Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. TV coverage, it'll be on FS1 and the Fox Sports app, and radio coverage on the NASCAR Racing Network and Sirius XM. Winner's purse will be $782,900. Weather for Friday could get a little iffy. 44 degrees, scattered showers, 42% chance of rain. The defending winner of this race is Christian Eckes. And in terms of the pick points, how are we looking coming into this one? Eric is the leader, 139 points. Chat is second, 13 points back. Jarrett is third, 16 points back. And I am rounding out the basement, 18 points back. You can put a blanket under me, Jarrett, in the chat right now, and Eric is slowly cruising away we got to find a way to stop this. He's starting to get a little too far ahead for this. We need to find a way to stop the bleeding here this weekend. Maybe I can do something to help that.
We got time.
Hocevar already took some good picks off the board. So
who did he pick? You have to remind us, who did he pick for the truck race?
Lane Riggs.
All right, he chose Lane Riggs. Giving me both of my 2 options still available. So I will go with my number 1 pick, and it's actually Corey Heim. It's Heim time for me.
Solid, respectable, understandable.
Looking back at the Homestead race, yes, Larson won. I got super lucky, though, because Heim had the better truck. I think he will have the better truck, and he will win this one at Bristol.
All right, then I think by default, my 2 picks have been taken away. I'll go with Kyle Larson.
Can't believe you got Larson with the 3rd pick. That's a steal of the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, Lane Riggs was a good pick. It was outside of the box, but that's not who I would have taken 1.
Majeski is heavily for the chat.
All right. Okay. Oh, then I get. Oh man, I have the tough call here. I'm gonna do it. Are we giving them Majeski?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty unanimous. I think he's hot off that Xfinity win this past weekend. He's in a Tricon. God, sorry, not DGR anymore.
You're a team behind.
He's in a Tricon truck. I don't know. This is, I think this is probably like a 5th to 7th place truck, but I think he's experienced enough to get this truck in the top 5 and maybe contend. I'll go Brandon Jones.
So Eric is going for the Razorbacks. Give me a good woo pig suey out of that one.
I won't be doing that, but go Brandon Jones this weekend.
Oh, come on. I'm a Balls fan. We got embarrassed by Arkansas. I could at least give them a woo pig suey.
It sounds like you owe them a woo pig suey.
Sounds like you've given them a bunch.
I do owe them a few woo pig sueys because they embarrassed us.
Oh, how about Xfinity? So Carson has Justin Allgaier in that one.
Yep. And so by default, I actually had him as my pick above him. I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. I felt like he was better, more comfortable in that Xfinity car a couple weeks ago at Homestead. It was unfortunate what happened to Sam Mayer. I'm going to go with Kyle Larson to win that one.
I'm glad you mentioned Sam Mayer because he is my pick. I think he is somebody who is well under the radar. Those cars are fast here. Sam Mayer has always been good here. I think it's a great combination together, and I think Sam Mayer gets the win.
That's not bad. I had him 5th on my board.
I think the chat is leaning Austin Hill. I'm seeing a lot of 21 in the chat.
21?
Yeah, Hill. There's some Zilich. I think they're leaning Hill.
21 seems more consistent than the other numbers.
There's some 54s. I think you're right about 21. There's 4 in
Give
a row
him the
right
big
there.
bully.
The big bully. Another pick I don't love, but I'm going to take it anyways.
That's the cost of being the leader.
Yes, I like Christian Eckes at a short track this weekend.
He did look really – he had a really great speed in the past in the truck series here, so that's not bad.
And Allmendinger's run well here in Xfinity in the past, so I like Eckes. Give me Eckes.
That's a underrated pick, I feel.
I hope so.
All right. Who is going to suck in the Cup race this weekend? Thankfully, we do not have Carson on for this segment. We do not have to know his thoughts on that.
Wanted to know this so badly.
So Danny, you lead that off.
I'm going to go Daniel Suarez.
Damn it. That's mine too. I have no faith. I am ye of little faith.
Yeah. Enjoy the ride while it's there, Daniel. That's all I'll say.
Chat's going Cody Ware. I'm trying to think of one a little more outside of the box.
I was supposed to say, like, at least Suarez could do well at times.
Yeah.
Jarrett and I went low-hanging fruit of good cars. You guys just went really low-hanging fruit.
They went rotten fruit.
I'm going bad Brad because even when they had speed, like at Darlington, pit stop miscue screwed up their whole day. They're just not clicking right now.
Yeah. So dark horse. Who's your dark horse there, Sonny?
My dark horse, you mentioned Brad. I'm actually going Ryan Preece as my underdog. RFK has shown great speed. Obviously got the win with Buescher here a couple of years ago, and he qualified second last week. Actually held on to second for a good portion of the start of last week. Did not get the finish that they wanted. He grew up racing short tracks. So I'm going to go Ryan Preece for this one as my underdog.
I'm gonna go Ricky Stenhouse. He seems to always pop up here. He might not be
He loves
consistent,
Bristol. He's
but
really good at Bristol.
but yeah, when he is not taken out, basically, he's honestly really good.
He reminds me a lot. Back in the 2010s, we would see a few guys. David Rudiman, Jamie McMurray, and Marcus Ambrose would always do great at Bristol. They would never have a chance to win Bristol because there was always better guys like Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano and a few others, but they would always be right up there. And that's kind of what Stenhouse reminds me of now.
Yeah, honestly, that's good. That's good comp. 17 is what I'm seeing in the chat.
I think they're going Busch.
And that's a fair one. It's he's not really sure what to expect out of him, but he has won here before, so that's a solid underdog for here.
I like Zane Smith this weekend as my underdog. He kind of made a fool of himself in this race a year ago with some ARCA breaks, but lately he's been pretty good. I think I looked it up earlier for a video. He has an average finish of 13th the last 3 weeks, and he scored a 9th at Phoenix earlier this year. So quietly, Zane Smith putting together some good runs.
All right, and who is going to win the Food City 500 this weekend? Who's going to win the Cup Series race? Carson Hocevar had, shockingly, I will say, I didn't expect this one. He had Chase Briscoe. That wasn't necessarily my biggest pick for this one. But I do have, chat stop, you can't have him. I'm already having Denny Hamlin.
Damn.
Wow.
All right.
He's gonna go 3 in a row, just like his teammate did. He looked in a race that was so unpredictable. He looked the best in this race last year, and I think he will continue on a streak he's on, and he will win at Bristol this weekend.
Well, I'm going to go with the guy who was about a statistical tie for the fastest when it came to the fall race last year. I was watching our buddy Auto Racing Analytics video, and he brought this up, how this guy has been sneaky fast at Bristol, how he did not, no one will think of how fast he was at the last Bristol race, but he was just as fast as Kyle Larson, just didn't have the track position. I think Larson's qualifying earlier than him is going to put him further back in the pack and put him further back during the race. So I am going to go with Mr. Popular, Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott was bad fast. No one remembers it because Larson was just that skosh better. But I mean, remember the last before they came back, the last spring race in 2020. Remember how good Elliott did there? It was a different car, but he was running up front. The whole deal with Joey Logano. He's pretty good.
He won the All-Star race at Bristol, but in terms of a Cup points race, it's always seemed to elude Chase Elliott. He's had a lot of close finishes, and close tries, but he hasn't been able to pick it up yet.
I think the chat's going with the 5.
Chat's taking Kyle
Larson is still there and available,
which means I get my second pick. I had Hamlin. I had Larson at 3 because I agree with what you said, Jarrett. He is going out really early in qualifying. I think that's going to hurt his starting position. And we saw in the fall, this can be kind of a track position race. Long day, but a lot of opportunity for mistakes. Larson is prone to those. My second pick that I'm going to take to win is Christopher Bell.
Yep, that makes sense. That's who I thought you were going with.
I'm happy with that. I feel pretty good about my pick there.
I like how I write down each name and stuff, and it's like Jones, Eckes, Brad, Zane, Bell. You just have like the short names that I can write down. Then the rest of us are like all over the place. Brad, what are you getting into?
Mischief.
Hey.
It's past his bedtime. He's like, wrap it up, Dad.
I didn't. I don't believe in the.
Is that a Publix logo on your shirt, Jarrett?
Yeah, it's my
because it's
shirt.
Florida. Oh,
yeah, they're like the king of Florida. Didn't you know that?
Oh, I love Publix in Florida. I just didn't realize that said Florida down there.
Yeah, it's Florida.
When did you run a marathon in Florida?
Right before the 2022 Daytona 500. Remember when we found out that I'm better at basketball drunk than sober?
Vaguely, yeah.
I gave up alcohol for like 6 months training for that marathon. And then that's when we all stayed at the Swamp House out in
I remember the Swamp
Palatka.
House.
Yeah. And so when remember we were playing basketball because they had the big basketball court next to it. And I found out that after drinking like a 6-pack of Budweisers, I'm actually better at shooting 3-pointers than I am when I'm completely clear-minded. So
you can trust your double vision more than your normal vision.
Oh, damn. Sorry.
That's what it looked like right there when he was.
Yeah.
It looked kind of like he was like, I can score.
To be fair, though, I mean, remember, I won a few games of horse, and I was like, hold on. All right, I got it. Swish. All right, give me another beer. No, the dog is laying next to here. I thought I heard him out there. No, he's laying next to here, and he's kind of just like, get it on, man. Like, get done with it.
Well, speaking of getting done with it, we need to get into the final super chats of the night. Appreciate everyone for your support, and we will get through this as quickly as we possibly can because I don't know if you can tell it. I haven't really mentioned this much all stream. I am dealing with some kind of cold. It's allergy season kicking in. It's made me congested, and I sound awful. I'm ready to be done talking to you guys. No offense. I have that car. That's a cool car.
We mentioned Chase Elliott, Bristol All-Star, and I just realized I had this on my desk.
I got the version of that one and the Alex Bowman one that has the lights. Because if you were going to get that car, if you didn't get the lights, what are you doing? Because you have to remember the lights for one race.
I have the Kenseth McDonald's car that he ran last in that whole night.
You remember the dude that climbed the fence that Moon had interviewed afterwards? He's like, I just love Chase Elliott. And I'm like, I want that dude at every race. He probably is not allowed at Bristol anymore, but I want him at every race.
I want to real quick. I know you're sick and tired, Danny, but I want to shout out Jake Hobby in the chat. He just commented Rob Moroso. That's how far behind in the stream he is, but he's still chiming in on Random Driver. You got it right, man. Jake. Congratulations. Well done.
I was looking to see did someone ask hey, who was the Random Driver? I missed that. Oh no, he was answering. Grant Toynton said, "Did I miss the Random Driver?"
Oh, so maybe he was just spoiling it for him then. Never mind. Not a shout out to you, Jake, for spoiling the Random Driver.
Instead, we condemn you.
Yeah, you suck.
Okay, let's get back to this. Tyler Dotson, appreciate the $5 from you. Ooh, he's going in on Riley Herbst here a little bit. There is no excuse for the 35 be 30th when the 23 and 45 are running top 5. Herbst doesn't deserve that car.
I saw a tweet, and I don't like to trash Herbst over the top. I don't like to be over the top bad, but I saw a tweet that was like, Corey Heim would not be 35th in that car. And it's true.
Didn't you tweet something, Eric, that like Fox was forgetting that Herbst was even in that car?
Yeah, like Harvick kind of, and I'm guilty of this too with some of these teams, but like Harvick was like, oh, it's like, I think they were talking about Michael Jordan being there, and he's like, oh, it's got to feel great when you're there and both your cars are running good. And I went, both? You forgot one. So it's a little awkward.
Okay, Minecraft Steve is in the chat. $1.99. Appreciate that, Steve. And Dirty Air, Byron's car had chicken jockey. Okay, I'm not that much in Minecraft, so I don't get the chicken jockey reference meme that's all over I've been seeing.
I don't know either. I've seen it too, but I played Minecraft a little bit when I was a lot younger. I've not caught up on the lore. I feel so old and out of the loop. It stinks.
Yep.
He's smalling me.
Meanwhile, Jared's over here having a cuddle session with Rhett.
He's just pushing his head into me.
He's ready for bed. I know that look. He's ready for bed.
He's stoically looking at my sign.
Don't worry, Rhett. I'm ready for bed too. We'll be finishing up momentarily. Andrew Winslow, appreciate the $5. Kyle Larson was the lolcow of the week for his 2 wrecks. His punishment, he must change his occupation to chicken jockey for the next year. Rowdy 8 Diecast, appreciate $1.99. Oh, wow. For Carson, what is your favorite track to race?
He
Bristol.
said he's looking. No, he said Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah, Indianapolis. Yep. We did talk about that. You're right. You're right, Eric. Below the apron, $5. Appreciate that. Can we all agree that diecast collecting has died of new price increase? A person who collected for years, this is huge. This is a huge slap in the face. I will say, yeah, it's gotten to a point I don't find myself buying diecast anymore. I hate to say it. I did it for a long time. I actually sold off a lot of diecast over the winter, and may even want to fin down my collection some more still. It was something that was so fun for a long time. I remember back in 2018, they were taking so much pride in the fact that they were lowering prices to be like a diecast was like $40-something, and now that same diecast with the tariffs, it's like what is this? What a standard one now? Like what 85 a race wins are gonna be $100 or something like that.
It's going from. I thought it was going from 85 to 100 or something
The
like that.
I thought
race
that was
win
race wins
was,
only.
but are race wins more expensive than traditional?
I think they
ones?
are.
Yeah, and then like the elite ones, I think are going to like close to like 130 or 150.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. Like I had the number somewhere.
And I mean, I will say when it comes to the line now, the cost of their NASCAR diecast are cheap compared to the trains. Oh my gosh, don't ever price a train. You'll be jaw will drop to the floor if you ever look at that side of the line now.
I'm looking this up.
It doesn't match the quality of the cars.
At least the train like moves and does stuff like
360.
So I stopped after 2017 getting diecast for a while when Junior retired. And then I came back to it in 2021 when we were all over the place. And I was genuinely like disgusted at the difference just in 4 years. Like it was crazy to me.
I find myself nowadays more excited to find cool vintage die casts from like my childhood that looks like, you guys can't see it, but on my lower shelf down here, I have a silver bullet Sterling Marlin, a mid 2000s Jimmy. I've got an old M&M's Kyle Busch. I obviously have the big 2003 Kensington Jr. that you can kind of see. Like those look really good on a shelf for what I do. And nowadays that's what I do with most of my die casts is I just have them out on display. And so I try to find, if I buy a car, it's because I like the paint scheme or it's a throwback and brings back good memories. I don't pre-order. I don't remember the last time I pre-ordered a die cast.
And I'm at a point now where I don't have to pre-order stuff because I do live close enough to one of Lionel's 2 stores, one being here in Nashville, that I can go over there and kind of get first dibs on stuff as they come out if I wanted to. But in terms of the office anymore, I only have 3 124s in here. One is the last car I ever bought from JP's NASCAR. The other one is Eric's number 6 Out of the Groove car from a couple of years ago. And then the podcast party bus is in here. I rocking my boy Eric in here.
I love it.
I have the most random 164s I have in here. I have the Elton Sawyer Tennessee car. I have a Terry Labonte car, like what the 2003 scheme, like what Larson was throwing back to this weekend. I have probably maybe one of the only ones available. Someone on eBay made a custom 164 of the podcast party bus, and I found it on eBay. I told him, hey, I literally wrote a message, hey, this is Danny B. I'll buy this from you if you're willing to do that. And he sold it to me. I have that. I have the Hell Melon car. I have the number 3 Sundrop car, like Dale Jr.'s first late model when he got back into it. This is before Lionel even had the late model template, so it's not even on the right body style. But and then I have, for whatever reason, I have both of Alex Bowman's 2023 schemes. I did not buy a single Bowman car last year or this year. That's sad. But yeah, I haven't really bought much in a while.
Same.
Hunter Nixon Fishing, appreciate the $4.99 from you. NWP lags still better than a Fox broadcast.
Not wrong.
David Esparza, appreciate the $10. I'm into NASCAR International, and with this weekend being the first NASCAR International quad header, NASCAR USA, Mexico, European, and Brazil, not looking forward to promotion with one of their sponsors, but Rhett Jones Racing. I'm afraid I'm not as familiar with NASCAR International stuff.
Sounds like there's a lot. He said it's all going on the same weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool.
505 Doom, appreciate $2. I don't know what it is referring to. That requires effort from NASCAR suits. I'm not sure what that
Probably
was.
throwback weekend, what Carson was talking about.
Alessandro Sebastian, appreciate the $5. Carson Hocevar, my guy, a talented guy like you struggling so far this year, don't do that.
I don't think he's doing it on purpose.
I'm sorry, I think he meant to have a flat tire.
Yeah. Andrew Winslow, appreciate $2. We did ask him to do this one. Carson, pick a Creed or Nickelback song for fall. We did tell him that one. Palm Tree 82, appreciate the $10 from you. I don't know what's more heartbreaking to watch. Spinoff 2, Jimmy in 2020, or one of the best games in the world this weekend. Either way, Cliff Daniels must hate the backstretch wall at Darlington.
I forgot about the Jimmy when he wrecked on like lap 2 at Darlington that one year. That was rough.
I mean, really, just Jimmy in 2020 period was tough to watch.
All you have to do is just drive it back to the line, and you'll win a stage. Crashes it.
Oh, by the way, I just remembered I need to tell Eric this. I was telling him to look up price of trains. Just Google this for me, Eric. Look up Lionel Vision Line Big Boy. I want to see your reaction.
Vision Line Big Boy. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
I'm a
Super
big man.
Union Pacific Vision Legacy Scale. Oh, okay, let me go to their website. Let me click this. Well, this looks pretty hardcore.
Man.
How much is it? $2,700. Find a dealer.
Welcome to the world. Welcome to the world of O scale, buddy.
$2,699. Jeez,
that's like half of my at-home gym. And that's a full dumbbell set, a full bench set, all of that. That is like less. That costs less than half of that train.
I could upgrade my PC for that.
I am likely going to spend that much, not this year, but maybe next year, on a new trolling motor for my boat, which will be far more useful than a toy train. Dang, I love model trains. I love trains.
Me too. Not that price.
I cannot afford O scale. Okay. Getting back on
Coinbank. Save your money. Save your money.
Save your money for the $2,700 train.
They're getting them young.
Bailey Riker, appreciate the $5 from you. Breaking news: Cody Ware has finally passed Jimmy Johnson in points. Also, is it weird to not see the 14 SHR car on track anymore? Yeah, it's weird not seeing we don't have a 14 in general now. That number has not been taken yet.
And hang the banner, Cody. Hang the banner ahead of Jimmy Johnson. Took 8 races, but you're finally there.
Well, I wonder if he'll hop into another race or two and take care of that.
The 600.
Justin Drake, appreciate the $19.99 from you. We could get a DI 8 Budweiser throwback, regular red, or the baseball 2001 car of Kyle Busch at any time, as long as they get Dale Jr.'s permission to use that 8 font, because Dale is so chill, unlike the Wicked Witch of racing.
Didn't know Dale was chill.
I would see him being more likely to let it happen, but they've got to have everything set up to where they want to make it happen.
Yeah.
Bobby Blair, appreciate the 99 cents and nothing to say. Appreciate that. Gavin Adcock, appreciate the $5 from you. The fact that Larson spun out on lap 4 and 4 laps ago is freaky. And in the same spot, almost exact same manner, too. That's what makes it even funnier. I literally thought for a second, like, did the TV just glitch? Did we just go back to the start of the race? Chase Bank, appreciate the $4.99 from you. Is Bubba out of the 23 if he doesn't get a win? If so, who replaces him? Too much money is going into Bubba. To be clear, I don't see that happening regardless of what happens. Like, love him or hate him, he's getting them sponsorships. He's getting them people who want to be in a team.
And he seems like he's off to the best start of his career so far this season. Like, I don't know if he'll get a win. I think at this rate he probably will, but he's on track to make the playoffs regardless. So that's a good sign.
Justin Drake, appreciated $9.99. Prime is like the Paul brothers, pointless and needs to disappear. I'll be honest, I gave Prime a chance, and I kind of like it. It actually tastes pretty good.
See, with NASCAR fans, I don't know if they're talking about the drink or the streaming service, because they've hated on both.
Connecting the Paul brothers, I'm assuming it's a drink.
Yeah.
Justin Drake, appreciate the additional $9.99 from you. I can't blame Lamar. Lamar had to stay relevant somehow, other than being the quarterback, walking off the field in the background while Fox interviews the winning team in the first round of playoff games. I'm just saying, Ryan Tannehill even beat him, so there's something to be said.
Yeah.
Bobby Blair, appreciate $1.99. Law and Order, NASCAR. That's basically what we do on some of these segments. Justin Drake, appreciate the $49.99. You have been very generous. You are tonight's big winner, Justin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin.
Legacy Dodge, Colleague Dodge, Four Sport Dodge. Honestly, if Dodge finally comes back in Cup and Truck, these teams kind of feel obvious. Also, the return of KBM for Brexton Bush, but in Dodges and a return of Brad Keselowski Racing.
Oh, imagine Kyle and Brad team up to revitalize like KBKR or something. How would they do that?
KBBK.
Something like that. Ooh, wait, that actually works.
To see it all come full circle from Brad Keselowski referring to Kyle Busch as a rear end at Bristol.
Which end?
Kyle Busch is an ass. You know, he asked like I think a pastor or someone that was there, hey, can I say this? So he goes, I don't know, the words in the Bible, I guess you can. He goes, all right.
Did he ask Pastor Joe Nelms if he could say it? Was he the one who was there? It wouldn't surprise me.
I don't think it was him.
Yeah, it wasn't him. Chase Bank, appreciate the $1.99 from you. Roush Mausch Lakers in 5.
Okay.
Chase Bank, appreciate the $1.99. Denny's still the best at JGR. Yep. I don't think anyone was debating that.
Oh, no, we debated that. I think we all thought Bell was probably better the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was on the same level for sure.
At least at the same level. It was
definitely
borderline.
better last year.
Yeah.
You could see at least you can make the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Immortal, appreciate the $1.99. I will be going to Long Beach Grand Prix weekend. Hey, have fun, Immortal.
Yeah, have fun with
a good time.
Sounds like a good time.
We got Shannon Sharp in the chat. $2 from Shannon. Did somebody mention the GOAT? James, Lakers in 5.
Okay. Not the Lakers. Come on.
I am a healthy adult male. Skip. I wasn't recording Skip.
You won't take this. Justin Drake, appreciate the $19.99 from you. 2012 Helmet Throw was my second race I was at in person. My pops, uncle, cousin, and I were in turn 1, and that kickstarted me really becoming a Tony Stewart fan. I had been a casual fan of him since 2010. I was at that race. That was my 3rd Cup Series race I went to.
Nice.
Lucky.
Bobby Blair, appreciate the $4.99 from you. Not NASCAR related, but I miss Luka Doncic, dumbest trade ever. Mavs are an unorganized mess. Yeah, Eric, what's happening over there and where you live? I know you're rocking the Rockets fan, but
things are good here. We just locked up the 2 seed for the first time in like 5-6 years. Where vibes are good in the H, but in the Big D, vibes are in the floorboards, in the basement, if you will. I think the Lakers were in town tonight, and I think they beat the Mavs. So that was awkward. That was probably really awkward for fans in attendance.
They had a great trade, and then they had probably the weirdest, most confusing trade with Dalton Connect, where they tried to get rid of him, but then it failed, and now they still have him.
Yeah, I remember that.
Let's see here. Justin Drake, appreciate another $49 from you. Speaking of Publix, I'm going to start at my transfer college in Florida this August, and we got a Publix on campus. Go Bulls. Nice. Oh, so I guess that's USF. They have their football coach actually used to be assistant coach at Tennessee, and I kind of wish he was still here because he drew up great offensive plays. Chase Bank, appreciate the $1.99 from you. Love y'all. Help me get through my nights. Go Denny. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
I kind of figured with that name to be a Chase Elliott fan, but nope, they're a Denny Hamlin fan.
Traitor.
Blue Jimmy 48 fan. Always good to hear from you. Appreciate it. $20. Great show, guys. This was a tough day for me as my grandma had surgery, but fortunately all went well. Much love to this show for being an escape for all dealing with tough times, and appreciate all the well wishes. I wishing your grandmother all the best, man. Thanks for always tuning in with us.
And shout out to the chat. I saw a lot of folks earlier when he posted that were sending their congrats and well wishes and all that good stuff. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Good
shout out to the community.
Justin Drake, appreciate it. $9.99 from you once again. As promised before the show, here's the official. Oh yeah, he did change his profile picture. Here's the official profile image change. Still got the Roush 16 Dodge, but also now the Harley Davidson 1 Dodge Kyle Larson Enhanced Health and Seabell version Verizon 5G. Yeah, it's nice. A bunch of cars in there together. It's a little bit harder to see.
Okay, that's right.
In the chat now.
Okay.
And Chase Bank, once again, from you, appreciate the $4.99. I was in Victory Lane at Richmond with a Denny shirt on, and I was the first to shake hands with Dylan.
Awkward.
That's funny.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for wrecking my driver, Dick.
It gives him the death grip. Yeah.
All right. That'll do it though for this week. Appreciate everyone for stopping by. Appreciate Carson Hocevar making his first appearance on NWP. And we will be on next week on Eric's channel live with Ellie Productions. He'll be on with us. So tune in next Wednesday night, April 16th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. We'll be over on Eric's channel. A lot to look forward to. It's Bristol, baby. So lots to look forward to. And we will see you all next week. It's been fun. It's been real. You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. We'll see you later. Bye,
See
guys.
y'all.
Drivers, start your
3, 2, 1.
green flag.
Started off right, pal. Right on, come on. Clean outside. 3 wide, 3 wide.
Unbelievable.
Where you playing? We're going. I like the aggressive. We probably dropped the green car. You can go to all those guys up there. They can suck it. What we're about to do is not a good idea. All good. What is he doing? You gotta be kidding me.
Half the pack is flying apart.
It's so nice to see at the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well.
Come. Coming white. Hello. Come back, caught him.
That